Hello and happy Saturday to all you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be listening. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is a Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference Division III matchup featuring the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes and the Bloomsburg Panthers, and is sponsored by Archie's Shoe Store in Coltmont, shoes for the entire family. My name is Jimmy Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan, and more importantly, former Red Tornado District Champion Dan Lesko. We're supported by Jose Gonzalo from the sideline, and together we're coming to you live from Panther Stadium in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania for the Panthers home opener. Now the Panthers come in tonight's game having kind of broken even in their first two games, Dan. So they had a big 34-6 win over Hughesville in week 1, and then they ran into that Southern Columbia buzzsaw last week and fell 41-0. Week 3, though, brings kind of a familiar foe into town, into the only town in Pennsylvania, I should say. Right? Always fun to bring that one up. This is the fourth time in the last 3 years that these teams were slated to play one another.
Yeah, Jim, they're definitely a familiar foe with the Panthers, but not the same old Panthers that we're used to seeing. No longer will they be in a pistol set and so heavy on the run. We're going to see a more spread out offense from these new-look Bloomsburg Panthers. Mostly 4 wide sets, and Hal, the returning quarterback, be putting it in the air much, much more. This Tornado defensive backfield is going to be tested yet again, and I'm sure they'll be relying on that tough front 7 to put some pressure on Hal and force the Panthers into some turnovers.
Yeah, Dan, I think you're right to focus on the line play. But speaking of line play, I'm looking down at the field, and I'm seeing lines of players on both sides. The Red Tornadoes are set up to kick off here. We're a couple minutes before 7, so it looks like we're going to start a little bit early tonight. The Panthers won the toss and elected to defer, so Julian Steller for the Red Tornadoes, they must have elected the ball. Steller's kicking deep, and it's going to be on the turf. That was Hawk at about the 5. Now he picks it up around the 15, and he gets across the 20 before he's dragged down at the 23. So kind of an interesting start here. We're a little early, a little on our toes.
Yeah, definitely on our toes here. So real quick, Jim, let's run into, since the Panthers received the ball here, let's talk about their keys to the game here real quick. So make MCA one-dimensional, get into a rhythm early, and take care of the ball. And those second and third keys there are going to be huge for the Panthers here on the offensive side of the ball on this first drive.
Yep, so the Panthers are going to come out. They run kind of multiple pro sets, so you'll see Howell, he's going to come out in the shotgun. They're going to go 5 wide to start this one. 2 to the right, 3 to the left. He's going to bring Hawk in motion. It's a high snap, but he's going to hand it to Hawk, who does a nice job getting upfield. A lot of white jerseys there to drag him down after he picks up maybe a half a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Yeah, that's a real good job by the Red Tornadoes, kind of rallying to the ball there. But looks like Coach Kogut for the Panthers there, looking to catch the Red Tornadoes off guard, spread them out, and try and run the ball here.
Yep, and it'll be more of the same. This time, 3 receivers to the wide side of the field. That's the right towards our side in the Red Tornado bench. 2 to Howell's left. This time it's going to be another high snap. He's going to be under pressure immediately. He tries to sling it in the general direction of number 22, Damon Rasmussen, who does a nice job bringing it in, but the Red Tornadoes stop him immediately. So it's going to bring up 3rd, actually for a loss of a yard, it'll be 3rd and 11.
Yeah, Jim, I talked about it right at the beginning there, that the Red Tornadoes were going to be the defensive backfield, relying on that front 7 to get pressure, and they did just that. On that, Howell threw off his back foot there, and honestly made a really nice pass just to get that into anybody's arms.
Yeah, and the 2 high snaps early on tonight, Dan, we can feel, we're in the open air here at the Panther Stadium. It's got a nice mist. Everything's kind of got a coat of precipitation on it, so we'll see if that plays a part here. But again, 3rd down now. Rasmussen comes in motion again. Howell's going to keep it himself, and he goes right up the middle. But a nice play there made for the Red Tornadoes. That's going to be number 3, Tom Davitt, who will drop Howell before he can get too far, and he'll bring up 4th and 6.
Yeah, and that's now, Jim, one thing that we could be looking at here, Howell, who is obviously the quarterback, also the punter. So Red Tornadoes defense has to always be on their toes for a fake here. A little early in the game, but this is the time to do it if you want to try and surprise somebody.
Yeah, there's a big, you saw a big kind of change there. It looked like position players switched out. You had a different unit come in. So Hawk's going to be the personal protector. Howell get a nice punt, end over end. It's going to be taken by the Red Tornadoes at about the 39. That was Belichick. He'll get across the 45. We'll see where they mark him out of bounds here. But regardless, it's going to be good field position for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, Jim.
It'll be right at their own 49.
Yeah, Jim, nice job there by Belichick fielding that one. And it's a new look back there, returning punts. I don't believe we saw Belichick back there last week, so getting his opportunity to do it, did a nice job there just fielding that one and getting what he could get.
Yep. One of those reasons, Dan, you try and see, look at the Red Tornado sideline, who's in, who's out. You see number 14, Garrett Verano, without pads or helmet, so that's, I think, why you see Belichick back there. But it's more of the same out of this Red Tornado offense as it's Daukus out of the wing tee, that little short inside pitch. He'll get a first down very quickly. It'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes now at the 41.
And Jim, you talk about more of the same. Last week, Daukus and Tyler Owens, number 9, both 100-yard rushers, 5 different Tornadoes with touchdowns, all on the ground. So it's definitely a lot of moving the ball around here.
Yeah, so it's Daukus on one end, Owens on the other. Witkowski's directly behind Stellar. And this time it's the pitch to Owens off the left side. He's going to bounce it to the outside. Nasir Hurd does a nice job, number 23, hanging on to a stiff arm and dragging him down after Owens does a nice job getting the corner and picking up around 4, but it looked like that play could have broke big if not for the play by Hurd.
Yeah, and Jim, this is what we saw from Mount Carmel last week. They're going to keep it tight, and they're going to run the ball. You know, that Stellar, I believe, put the ball in the air 5 times last week, and they had 30 plus rushing.
Yep, 3 of 5, 32 yards last week for Stellar. So here we are again. 8:45 left, 2nd and 5. It's the same pitch to Daukus off the right side. He's going to try to get outside, but a huge play there made there by Hawk is going to drag him down way in the backfield behind the initial line of scrimmage. It's going to take a 2nd and 5 to a 3rd and 12 for a loss of about 7.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about it last week. The Red Tornadoes, even though we got a new backfield in there, it's more of the same this year. They need to stay on schedule with this run offense. You know, they did a good job getting it to 2nd and 5. Now this big loss here, 3rd and long, not really a familiar position for them.
And Dan, this is something we saw a little bit last week, that when you do get down in distance, that tight formation the Red Tornadoes have does open up a bit, and we'll see for the first time. We got Belichick split out wide, Owens in the slot, I formation behind Stellar. He's going to go straight back. He's going to roll a little bit. He's under pressure. He's going to throw it in the middle of the field, trying to get to Owens on a bit of a corner route. It'll fall incomplete, and Coach Darra's got a decision. Again, 4th and 12 is a little much for this offense to kind of pick up at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Jim, and you know, that was that little flood route there from Stellar. And I like Coach Darra doing that. This is a run-heavy offense. Stellar doesn't throw the ball a whole lot, so when he does, get him moving out of the pocket, have everybody in his line of vision. That's a well-designed play. Stellar just wasn't able to find him.
Stellar does the punting for the Red Tornadoes. Looks like it's Hawk and Gazevich back deep for the Panthers. It's a good snap and a good kick that's going to hit around the 10. And Gazevich is going to take it right at the 5, and he's up the left side. He had a space there for a second, but it looks like we'll try to get, that's number 11 for the Red Tornadoes. That's Cole Spears. He made a lot of special teams plays last week as well. And it'll be 1st and 10, Panthers at about the 23-yard line.
Yes, he did. Spears coming from what we call that gunner spot, that wide receiver spot, does a really good job of getting down the field, and he's quick. He's able to make that guy miss and get down there unblocked.
Yep, so I'm trying to see, Dan, defensively for the Red Tornadoes, it looks like number 6, Garankowski's out there, as we said, with Verano on the sideline. But Verano's not the only starter the Red Tornadoes are missing tonight. As we see a handoff to Hurd off the left side, Garankowski, right on cue, runs him out of bounds.
Yeah, nice job there by Garankowski, like you said, running that one out of bounds. But you're right, Jim. We also have number 71, went out early last game, Nick Nextico, that tough sophomore offensive and defensive lineman. So we're going to be seeing a lot of shuffling in and out there, and hopefully we can get Nick back here on the field as quickly as possible. But as for now, Coach Darra is going to be relying on some guys to fill that spot.
2nd and 7. Twins right, a single receiver to the left. Howell in the shotgun. He's going to take the snap and go straight back. He'll step up in the pocket. He's under pressure. Immediately goes down. The Red Tornadoes got there quick. Witkowski certainly there. 75, Matt Kelly. Not a whole lot going on there for the Panthers.
Yeah, Jim, that's the downside for Coach Kogut's offense. If he wants to go wide open like that, there's no extra person in, no tight end in on that side to pick up the extra blitzer. So Witkowski came off the outside, totally untouched, force Howell to step up into the pocket, into the waiting arms of Kelly.
And Dan, you talked about this last week about the Red Tornadoes going with like a speed package. Look at who's on the defensive line. It's Chicatano, Elliott, and Daukus. That's it as far as down linemen. Now they are going to bring some pressure off the edge. Howell's going to throw it, and it's incomplete. He had first down yardage. Good coverage there by Farinato. He's looking for Hawk, but it's going to bring up 4th and 11.
Yeah, real nice job there by Farinato, getting a hand in there. And again, you know, flushing Howell out of the pocket was that defensive line, that speed rush, like we said, that got in there. And as they forced him to the sideline, using that sideline as an extra defender, they did a real nice job there.
Butchick will stay on the sideline this time, catch a breather here. Cole Spears, the aforementioned Spears, is going to go out there with Farinato to field the punt from Howell. And it's a good snap, and it's a good punt in the direction of Farinato. He's going to let that one go. Got out of bounds quickly.
Yeah.
Again, wet night. Ball's wet, kind of goes off the side of the foot. It's going to be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes in plus territory at about the, see where they spotted exactly. Looks like the 43-yard line.
Yeah, so Jim, while we get set here, I'm going to real quickly run through these MCA keys to the game. Pressure the passer, which they've been doing so far already. Force some turnovers and continue the ground success. You know, we talked about how much success they had on the ground last week. And obviously, from what it looks like, they're going to continue to pursue that success.
Yeah, I think we saw, right? It just the same, more of the same, like you said, Dan. Those pitches, we'll see Witkowski up the middle. Stellar will keep some of those. Owens in motion, and there again, that's the fake pitch, and they'll give it to Witkowski. But give the Panthers credit. They seem ready for it again. It'll be no gain for Reed, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and Jim, you know, I talked about that Panthers doing a nice job there making that stop. And they got to make Mount Carmel one-dimensional, which is what it looks like they're trying to do. You got all 11 Mount Carmel guys in there within the hash marks. So the Panthers are doing the same thing. They're loading that box, and they're trying to force Mount Carmel to throw.
Matt Kelly back in there at his right tackle position. So we'll see if the Red Tornadoes go in that direction. Daukus comes in motion, and it is going right behind Kelly, and that's where I would run too. But the Panthers, again, do a great job. A lot of red jerseys attacking the ball. Daukus will pick up maybe 2. 3rd and 8 here from the 41 with just under 6 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, Jim, definitely a nice job there by the Panthers. Again, keeping the Red Tornadoes out of that short down and distance. Not sure what we're going to see here from Coach Nara, but Jim, I think you motioned it to me earlier. Maybe a little play action might catch the Panthers sleeping.
Yeah, we know Stellar has the ability to deliver those balls on time and on target, so we'll see what they do on 3rd and 8. It's Owens in motion. They're going to pitch it to him, and he tries to get out of bounds, but that's a huge play by number 52, Cole Stobo, the junior for the Panthers, and he blew that one up from the beginning. 4th down, and the Red Tornadoes are going to be forced to punt for the 2nd time on their 2nd drive.
Yeah, and Jim, you know, we talked about it a little bit. This offense, there's so many different things that you can do out of that tight set. But when even if you get a tough defense that can move well laterally, sideline to sideline, as this Panthers defense does, they kind of can neutralize a lot of the options you have.
Now, interestingly enough, the Panthers. All right, here we go. For a second, they didn't have anybody back deep, and I wasn't sure if they were going to sell out for a block or try something like that. But it looks like they'll send number 7, Jake Fogelsanger, back there as Stellar gets a beautiful spiral punt. Fogelsanger will take that at the 12. He tries to get up the right side. He does a nice job. Farinato will upend him, but again, a good return of about 12 yards out to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, Jim, I'm not sure if I know we said this is the Panthers' home opener here at Panther Stadium, but I think they got a pretty good feel for how this turf is, because normally as a punt returner, you don't let anything you don't try and catch anything, field anything inside the 10. Both of the last 2 punts were right around the 10-yard line. The first one inside the 10, and they still decided to pick it up. So maybe they don't trust those turf bounces to get into the end zone.
So here's a tighter set from the Panthers. Receiver split out right, one in the slot to the right as well, but I formation behind Howell. He brings the receiver in motion. They're going to pitch it to Hurd. It's not Hurd off the right side. He's going to take a big shot from Witkowski. That was number 2, Luke Batora. He'll pick up a few hard-fought yards before Reed ended that run.
Yeah, Jim, that was a really nice run there by Batora, but you're right. He definitely met a very angry and quick-moving Reed McCoskey at the sideline there.
Two receivers to the left. It's a pistol formation. Howell's going to take the snap, and he's immediately under pressure. He rolls to his left. Now he's going to try to reverse Fields, but that's not going to work out. Wachowski's there, but it was really Daukus first on the scene. So a big play there to drive them back behind the initial line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 14 now for the Panthers after that initial, positive run on first down.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about Daukus last week, the returning team leader in sacks, and he was the guy that flushed Howe out of the pocket last drive on 3rd down. Now he gets after him, forces this 3rd and long. I'd like to see the Red Tornadoes pin their ears back again and go get this one.
4 wide for Howell, 2 receivers to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Now one guy to his left is a personal protector. He's going to take the snap, and it's a quick rocket screen to Gazevich. It goes through his hands, so incomplete. And we're 8.5 minutes into this game, Dan, and we're getting ready to see what our 5th punt of the night.
Yeah, and you're right. Good job by Coach Kogut kind of designing something to get the ball out quick because of the pressure they've been getting on Howe. And they had the right idea. Looked like both of Mount Carmel's inside linebackers were blitzing. The middle of the field, there would have been some room there if he could have got it to him. But thankfully he had to get it out just a little too quick.
Another good snap. Howell will take his time with this one. It's in the direction of both Red Tornadoes. They're going to probably wisely get out of the way tonight. And it'll roll all the way down to the 40-yard line. Take a nice Panther roll. So surprisingly enough, it'll be the 35, excuse me. So surprisingly enough, Dan, I think tonight, for the first time, that you start at your own 35-yard line, that's far and away the worst field position the Red Tornadoes have had thus far.
Yeah, it definitely is their worst field position after kind of doing a nice job of keeping the Panthers, pinning Panthers deep, keeping them deep in their own territory, and then having to field their punts. This is definitely the worst starting position, but we'll see if they can work with it.
So again, Steller under center with Wachowski right behind him. Daukus in motion. Steller's going to throw it, and he throws it in the direction of Blitchick, who does a great job coming down with that one. The ball was batted up in the air. It looked like it had interception written all over it, and Blitchick went up and plucked it out of the sky for about 9.5 yards. It'll be 2nd and short.
Yeah, Jim, that's definitely one of those ones that you get a little nervous about when you see the ball go in the air. But good job by Blitchick keeping concentration and pulling that one in.
All right, so actually upon further review, they do move the chains, and now it's 1st and 10. All right, so we got the initial first down there for the Red Tornadoes. Daukus in motion. They'll go right back to what works. He's going to try to get to that sideline. But there's a lot of jerseys there. That's try to get a number there. Big play there made by 22 Rasmussen, who comes flying up from his defensive backfield position. He's sitting out there, one of the corners, and he kind of upends Daukus for a loss of 2.
Yeah, that was a real nice job, and we talked about it. This Mount Carmel offense, that pitch play, it's a read on the block. If you get that block down, you go outside. You get that kick out block, you go inside. And the Panthers look like they've got an answer for it. If somebody's getting blocked down, they have somebody hanging out outside. Somebody's getting kicked out, they have the linebackers waiting in the middle.
Daukus in motion again. Now this is an inside Sally handoff, and Owens does a great job of getting anything out of that one. He'll get across the 45 out to about the 47. It'll make it 3rd and 8, but really, by all rights, he should have lost another yard or 2 there.
Yeah, I agree, Jim. That really nice job of just getting plus yardage at all with that one. But again, we see the Red Tornadoes in a 3rd and long situation, or longer than they would like to have.
Well, one thing, Dan, we've been doing this a little while now. Whether it's working or not at the moment, Coach Dyer is not going to make any changes. They're going to keep going to that well, and that play is going to break at some point.
Absolutely it is.
And so we'll see what the call is on 3rd and 8. The Panthers show blitz. Steller moves out of the pocket, and he throws in the direction of Daukus. It's just out of his outreached hands. It'll fall incomplete. And so 1:27 left in the first quarter. We're scoreless and about to see our 6th punt of the night, the third for the Red Tornadoes. The Panthers have 3. Now, Dan, Stellar only punted 4 times all last week.
Yeah, and Jim, we talk about how accustomed we've come to seeing this same Mount Carmel offense, but this is not something we've become accustomed to. A low scoring, no points here through this, this far into the first quarter. This is definitely something that this Mount Carmel team has faced a lot of adversity this year, and it looks like nothing's going to change here in week 2.
It's a high snap. Stellar does a good job corralling it, and he'll get a nice end-over-end punt. It's going to bounce and kind of die. Ooh, Gazevich almost went for it, but he thought better of it at the last second as the Red Tornadoes started to converge. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 20.
Yeah, Jim, that's that bounce I was talking about, why they would decide to pick it up inside the 10-yard line. That lateral bounce that the ball takes, that could pin you super deep into your own territory. But this is, again, the Red Tornadoes defense being called on to make another stop and get it back to that offense.
Panthers come out. It's Hawk and Gazevich to the right, a single receiver to the left. Howell in the shotgun. He's going to go straight back. He's going to throw that quick hitch to Hawk. It's incomplete. Red Tornadoes had good coverage on the play. Farinado over the top and Witkowski coming from the middle.
Yeah, John, that was a great job defensively for the Red Tornadoes. And we've been talking about the pressure that's been getting on Howell, so we'll look at that Red Tornado defensive line there. We've got Matt Kelly, Dalkis and Chicatano on the defensive ends. And we have Elliott again, I think we talked about, in there for Nestico.
Yep, we've got Elliott in there. It looks like there's also 76 Kira, I think, is in there too tonight, Dan. So we've, like you said, Mount Carmel will switch those guys out a lot. And Howell has has space for a second, and he's immediately under pressure. He's going to try and get the ball, and he does to Hawk. Nope, they'll say it's incomplete. So it's going to be 3rd and 10.
Yeah, that's a really nice job. That time the defensive line kind of called on the defensive backs to stay in coverage as Howell was able to escape the pressure. And the defensive backfield, just as they did last week, has been answering the call so far, Jim.
Yeah, and you feel for Howell there a little bit because he drops back, and it almost seems like while he had the pocket around him, that internal clock said, hey, man, you got to move.
Right.
And he stepped up and almost into the arms of a couple Red Tornado defenders before he had to make a pass under duress. So here we go, 3rd and 10. Twins right, single receiver left. Howell's under pressure. They got the screen set up to Gazevich, and he's got some space on the left side of the field. Nice play there made by number 3, Davitt. It'll be very close to a 1st down. We'll see.
Jim, it looks like they might be just short here, but again, at this, even this early in the game, this may be a situation where Coach Koga decides that it's now or never. We've got to make something happen here and go for it.
And the Red Tornadoes seem to think that may be the case again. No movement defensively from a personnel standpoint, except bringing a little extra beef up the middle. Tank Kelly will head back in there, while Timko, who's getting some looks at defensive end and linebacker, will come out.
Jim, it looks like they're gonna run a type of wildcat here. Hawk in a very, well, it looked like a huge muscle set there for the Panthers, but a little bit of confusion forces them to take a timeout.
Yeah, probably wise, right? You've got the first opportunity tonight, maybe where you want to try to take advantage of what's occurred in the first 11 and a half minutes. Let's not make that 4th and 1 a 4th and 6.
Right, and that's the thing. You don't want an illegal procedure penalty. You got guys in different positions. They're not used to being this tight. And the Red Tornadoes are going to be looking at a big 4th down play here, because this would obviously be great position to start in if they can do it.
Yeah, I think that's and again, it's easy to stand up here where we are, again, open air, beautiful stadium, enjoying the night tonight, but I'm punting this ball. My defense has given me no reason not to trust them at this point.
But I can also see Coach Kogat's plan to not punt, because you got to take advantage of your opportunities. This is the shortest 4th down they've had all game.
So you're right, Dan, about the wildcat. Hawk's going to take it, and he's just going to try to get to the left side, and he'll pick up the 1st down. So it breaks well for the Panthers. They'll pick up a 1st down and keep the chains moving.
Yeah, and Jim, we'll just call that a student body right, because that's pretty much what that was. He had three lead blockers in front of him with that whole offensive line kind of zone blocking to the right side, and he did what he had to do. He didn't get a lot, but he got enough.
And that play is going to bring us to the end of the first quarter. So we're scoreless here at Panther Stadium. Red Tornadoes and the Bloomsburg Panthers locked in a tight one here at the end of one.
Yeah, Jim, like you said, we're locked in a real tight one here at the end of the first. It's odd to look over at that scoreboard at the end of the first quarter in a Mount Carmel game and see double zeros up there.
Well, here's something I wanted to tell you. So I was waiting. I was kind of holding on to this one until the quarter officially ended. Credit to Press Enterprise. I was reading their Football Friday. It's a great inset there that they produce.
Yep.
And they called out. So last season when these two teams played, the Red Tornadoes didn't put up any points in the first quarter either,
really?
But exploded for 28 in the second quarter to take that commanding lead into the halftime, and Mount Carmel never looked back en route to a 55-13 victory. But so while it may seem kind of strange, it's not uncommon when these guys meet. And I think it speaks to kind of what you were saying, Dan, the familiarity between the two squads.
Yeah, it's definitely a familiarity. There's always a feeling out process, seeing what's going to work this time. This worked last time, so let's go with this. Okay, but the defense is thinking, okay, we know this worked last time, so we're going to attack this.
So this time it's two receivers to the left. It's Hawk and also number 5, Madden Locknote. So that may be the other receiver we haven't been able to get a great look at. It's typically away from us. And Hawk's going to bring Rasmussen in motion, and they'll throw it right to him in the flats. He does a nice job of hauling that in. He makes a guy miss, and he's down the sideline, but he does just step out of bounds. He tried to walk the tightrope there, but just by a shoelace, stepped out of bounds. Not before picking up a first down, however.
Yeah, that's a well-designed play there, Jim. You bring the guy in motion. You have the two receivers run their guys off, so nobody's sitting in that flat. It's a wide-open throw. It's basically getting your guys the ball. It's a long handoff is what that is. There's nobody around him. You're able to get it to him quick and let him make something happen, as he did down the sideline.
Hawk and Gazevich to the right, Lock to the left. Howell's in the gun with a single back to his right. He'll take the snap, and he's going to roll out, and it's a long handoff. I believe that was to Patora. Almost fumbles on the handoff there. It was a little convoluted, but he does a nice job hauling it in and making something out of it. He'll get right to midfield, give him 2 yards.
Yeah, Jim, that's most commonly known there is a sprint draw. He's supposed to be a sprint out to the right and have that guy coming back. You get the defense moving one way and cut back across the grain there. But the Red Tornadoes defensive line did a really good job of staying square, staying on the line of scrimmage, and just reading that and snuffing it out. And Patora did a good job of just getting anything on that.
Yeah, he did. And you talk about it all the time. The Panthers just need to keep moving forward at this point. Twins right, single receiver left. Howell's going to go straight back, and he's under pressure immediately. He's going to roll. Witkoski has him. He finds Hawk. It's a good pass and catch. Hawk makes the reception maybe a yard in front of the initial line of scrimmage. He'll fall forward. So again, that's, Dan, you talk about those long handoffs. That's what that one amounts to be as well. So it's 3rd and 5.
Yeah, and we'll see again here. Red Tornadoes faced again with another big play. But the upside, even if the Red Tornadoes are able to get a stop, force a punt here, the Panthers did what they needed to do in a sense. They flipped the field.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point. 10:28 left, nothing in the second quarter. Panthers facing 3rd and 5 from the 46. Howell's going to throw. He throws that hitch to Locke, who makes the reception right at the sticks. Actually, a yard in front of them. It'll be 1st and 10 Panthers at the 40.
Yeah, Jim, it looks like that short passing game that the Panthers are doing here, or working here, has been working up to this point.
There's a little confusion there. The referee closest to us had it marked at the 40. The far referee had a better vantage point and said the 41. Regardless, 1st and 10 Panthers.
Right.
4 wide this time. Wide open sets out of this team. Hawk comes in motion, gives us trips to the left, and they'll throw that pitch out to Patora with some guys in front of him. But the Red Tornadoes do a great job of kind of avoiding all those blockers. Witkowski tackles him right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Witkowski did a real good job, and that's what that is, Jim. You get the guy, you get Patora in the backfield, you send Hawk in motion to make it trips to the left-hand side. That's 3 blockers out in front of Patora if you can get that swing pass out to him. You're right. Witkowski, coming from his middle linebacker spot, was able to get in front of the offensive line and behind those 3 receivers blocking, right into that little gap there and make a nice play.
So, Dan, I've got a thought here. So we'll get to it at the end of this play. But just let's remember, the Red Tornadoes played on Tuesday, just a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
So right now, Panthers are going to bring another receiver in motion. They'll run that same play they ran to Rasmussen, but that one's to number 7, Jake Fogelsanger, and the Red Tornadoes are having none of it. They'll drop him right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. But Dan, the point that I was kind of getting to is a lot of movement from the Panthers, a lot of motion. Somebody's got to follow them.
Yeah.
The Red Tornadoes are down Nestico. They're down Verano. Their numbers aren't always, aren't the highest to begin with. Is there a little gamemanship here by Coach Kogan? Just see, hey, how well rested are these guys?
Jim, I think there definitely is. I mean, it's coming off of a 3 or 4 day rest, 3.5 days, whatever it is. It's definitely got to be a gamesmanship move there. Just kind of see how tired are they, or how tired can we make them.
Trips left on 3rd and 11. Howell's going to keep it himself that time and go up the middle, and Witkowski stayed home, as did Daukus.
Yeah.
So Howell will just get back to the 40. So it'll be 4th and 9 for the Panthers here. So nice job there. As much as the offense has tried to spread the Red Tornadoes out, that alley up the middle hasn't really materialized yet.
Yeah, it hasn't. We attest that to that front 7, those linebackers and that defensive line that no matter who you plug in there, does well.
So 4th and 9, big play here for the Panthers. It's a high snap. Howell's got time. He's going to throw that comeback to Hawk, and we'll see if he stayed in bounds. He did.
Wow.
Right at the 30, so that's going to be a 1st and 10. That's a huge pitch and catch, and Dan, that's all timing.
Yeah, it is. And we talked about, I don't remember, Jim, but I believe Hawk was a big target for Howell last year as well.
36 catches, 500 yards, Dan.
Yeah, so that could be that familiarity there. And just, that timing route, that's what it all is. It's timing. He knows when Howell's going to break, and he gets it there, too.
You don't see at the high school level those comebacks executed that well. So credit the Panthers. But they're back to the pistol now. 1st and 10. Howell's going to keep. Now he's going to throw a quick seam route to that tight end. It looks like, did he make the catch? He made a heck of an effort. And they're going to give it to him. They'll say the ball did not hit the turf. I don't have the eyesight to disagree with them, so it'll be another 1st down for the Panthers, and they got a little momentum.
Yeah, they definitely do, Jim, and credit to that. And looks like, before I can even get something out here, they're staying on the line, Jim. They're not huddling.
Mm-hmm.
They're feeling that momentum shift their way. They want to keep this ball moving.
There's a stack to the left now. This is the first time I've seen this tonight out of the pistol. It's a high snap, but we do have a flag. It's an illegal motion penalty against the Panthers, so that is one caveat with trying to hurry up all the time, right?
And that's one thing, Jim. But real quick, let's talk about since we're talking about how they've been able to move the ball and protect Howell enough for them to do that this time around. Let's talk about that Bloomsburg offensive line. We talked about the Red Tornado defensive line. They've got number 59 Ken Zhang, 64 Ryan Dufresne, 61 Luke Bowes, 50 Cole Stobo, and 67 Chase Morris from right tackle to left tackle there.
So, yeah, certainly doing their job tonight as we're 6 minutes into the second quarter. We're still scoreless. 1st and 15 now. It's a high snap. Howell does a good job of getting it down. Giving it to Patora, who'll get back to the 21. So it's still going to be about a 2nd and 11 from here.
Yeah, and Jim, again, this is kind of... I'm hoping, at least for the Red Tornadoes, that this looks like what the first drive did last week against, or not last week, just a few days ago against the Vikings. They drive down, we get a stop.
Now 4 wide. Howell didn't have his first look, so he rolls out. But he finds Rasmussen again. It was a great job avoiding the tackle. Now big hit there from a Red Tornado, who's going to stay down on the sideline. So we'll give an update on that as soon as we have one. But again, nice play. It'll bring up a 3rd and short right around the 10-yard line.
Yeah, real nice play there. And I think that was did it. We talked about it, and we talked about Howell. I'm sorry, being the returning quarterback, did not put the ball in the air a whole lot last year. At least in comparison to the quarterback that we saw last week.
Right.
But did throw the ball nearly 200 times last year. 11 touchdowns, almost 1,400 yards. So he making that first read and moving on to his next one, that's something that we've come to expect from him.
So, and just real quick, it looks like it's Witkowski down on the far sideline, so he's being tended to by the athletic trainers on both sides. While we have a minute, just want to let everybody know we understand the situation from a fan standpoint tonight, and a lot of the Red Tornado faithful aren't able to make it, and as Witkowski's up and walking off the field on his own power. But just so those of you that are out there watching, just remember, at this point, the sights and sounds of tonight's game are coming to you live thanks to the generosity of the Red Tornado community, near and far. You're watching it somewhere at somebody's house. You're enjoying your night. You're dry. You're warm, which is more than a lot of us can say, although understandably you'd rather be here. But when you're out on that redtornadofootball.com website, just think about making a donation, no matter how big or small. Everything helps, and given this COVID season, we want to make sure that we can keep bringing you these games. And the Panthers went with student body set again, but the snap was high. So while you have that 3rd and short, it very quickly turns into 4th and 9, Dan. That could not have gone worse.
No, it definitely could not have. And you talked about it just now, and you talked about it earlier, that dampness on the field, that precipitation, really starting to come into effect. It looks like Howell and now Hawk, who was in there at that wildcat spot, are running into kind of moisture issues.
Yeah, so it's interesting enough. Again, we talked about the 4th down play previously, the decision the Panthers made to go for it. We've got a second timeout the Panthers will use here as they try to figure this one out.
Yeah, and Jim, I will, honestly, in my opinion, I don't see Coach Kogut going anywhere other than that comeback route to Howell. Or to Hawk, I'm sorry, that comeback route to Hawk on the sideline again. Maybe switch the field, go to the other sideline. But you do like playing to your home sideline there sometimes. You get that, you're able to let the ref know, even if that toe might step out of bounds, you're able to kind of, encourage him that it didn't.
Hey, so certainly no personnel changes, so there'll be no field goal here. We've got, again, Howell coming out, Patora, Gazevich, Hawk, 82, Devin Yoakum. We haven't spoken much about him yet. He had the big catch to get them down to the 10.
Bogdanovich in there, too, at that wing spot, 32.
Howell takes the snap. He's going to roll to his left immediately. He's going to step up. He's going to throw it towards the end zone for Hawk, and he just overthrew him just a bit. So that Red Tornado defense holds, and after giving up a couple first downs, and it seemed like the Panthers had momentum, Mount Carmel's able to stomp that out, and it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at their own 19-yard line.
Yeah, Jim, they definitely held tough. And real quick here, we'll talk about it, that Mount Carmel offensive line, which I don't think we got a chance to talk about yet. We got 66, Chicatano, 50, Elliott, 58, Geary. Who's in there replacing Nestico?
Looks like 53 Moser's in there.
Moser in there replacing Nestico, and 75, obviously, Mca Keys.
Not to mention Timko
at that tight end spot.
At the tight end slot, yes, sir. So here we go. Red Tornadoes tightened up, 4:52 left in a scoreless ball game. And Stellar didn't like what he saw. He'll call a timeout. Try to talk this over and come up with something a little more agreeable.
Yeah, Jim, that's a we talk about Stellar being this is his first year as the starting quarterback, but he's been a leader on this team for years now. He was a sophomore last year, walked out there as the game captain a few times, I remember. Now he's a junior captain on this team. So, he knows the way that offense has to flow, and he knows that this is going to be a big drive for the Red Tornadoes.
Well, and the other thing, Dan, I think that's fun, and Coach Dara had told us about this when we talked, is that there's a lot of competition within this team, being that they are young. And I know Feliciano, who's currently slated as the backup quarterback, he pushed Stellar all summer.
Absolutely.
In terms of a competition. So it's certainly nice to see how those things work out.
And it looks like in there for Witkowski is number 44.
So for the moment, it's Owens off the left side, and he'll get a first down. If you believe the far ref, if you believe the near official, it's going to be 2nd and 1, and maybe he's the one I should have been looking at.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But yeah, that was Ryan Widener in there, 44, and he made a nice block there to spring that for Owens. He got that kick out block.
Well, and Reed wasn't missing any limbs, so he's back in there. Wasn't going to last very long.
Yeah, you knew he was going to be getting back out there soon after he hustled off the field.
All tight for the Red Tornadoes. Owens and Daukus in those wings. Daukus comes across, but it's that inside handoff to Owens, who does a nice job picking up the first down, but there is a flag on the play thrown in the area of offensive holding, we'll say, Dan.
Yeah, definitely in the area, and it looks like that's what it's going to be here, Jim.
So certainly an interesting quarter so far, an interesting half. 4:08 left. This is going to be a hold against the Red Tornadoes, so that'll take them back pretty close to the initial line of scrimmage. Bring up about a 2nd and maybe 11 until they mark it off. Yeah, but it'll be 2nd and 11 from about the 17-yard line. So it's
yeah, and that's a tough break for the Red Tornadoes, like you said. After a nice run to start the drive from Owens, and then a first down from Daukus, negated by that offensive holding. But Red Tornadoes looked like they got a little bit of momentum there. So let's see if they can really get the ball rolling here.
And Dan, you talked about this earlier, but you look, there's what, 7 Panthers within a foot of the ball. Now Stellar's going to roll out and run upfield. He'll be dropped down for only a couple yards, but there is another flag on the play.
Yeah, and obviously that one's an obvious one, an illegal shift there, because we had two Red Tornadoes in motion at the same time there.
Yep, so we'll see. We've got, again, the Red Tornadoes looked like they had a moment there, and a couple penalties have the potential to derail this. Coach Dara checking out that play card, trying to figure out how to get them back on track, as it's now 2nd and 16 from the 12.
Yeah, again, we talk about this a lot. Coach Dara does have plays on that card to get 16 yards, but most of them are those run plays that he just expects his talented running backs to turn into plus yardage. So we'll see what he decides to go with here.
Stellar sends Daukus in motion, but they're going to hand it to, Stellar's going to keep it himself and flip it out in the area of Witkowski. He had him, but it does fall incomplete. Stellar under a lot of pressure from the jump there.
Yeah, Jim, Stellar was under a ton of pressure, and that's tough for any quarterback, especially one that normally is tasked with running the ball. Rolling to your left-hand side, Stellar's right-handed. With that pressure, it's so hard to get your feet set and throw that. He kind of had to throw that with his shoulders off kilter a little bit there, and wasn't able to get it out to Witkowski, who did have a little bit of room.
So we talked about the offensive line. I think I've mentioned Timko at that right tight end slot. Belichick is the tight end on the left, so it's kind of Daukus behind Belichick, Owens behind Timko, and Witkowski behind Stellar. Stellar's going to throw. It's a straight drop. The Red Tornadoes tried to set up a screen, and he throws it in the direction of nobody in particular. Fortunately for the Red Tornadoes, number 50, Geary, is out there.
No, that's Elliott, Jim.
Excuse me, thank you. Aaron Elliott's out there, and he's going to play about as good a pass defense as you can to prevent that ball from getting picked off.
Yeah, that was a good job there. Tough set there by the Red Tornadoes. Looked promising to start, but again, they're going to be looking to Stellar to try and get a boomer out of his own end zone here, or the Panthers are going to be starting in plus territory. They got their feet here just beyond the 50.
Yeah, Stellar's going to be punting to Fogelsanger and Locke. What's interesting, and I'm always curious, I never understand totally the logic behind the coaches, behind the coach decision-making.
Yeah.
This seems like a punt you try to go after.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely one where you kind of devise a little twist play to get in there and try and throw them off. To not even get to it, at least disrupt the punt.
It's a low snap. Stellar gets a low kick. It's going to take a Red Tornado bounce, but it will be picked up by Fogelsanger at the 45. He makes a nice move to get upfield. Now he's inside the 20. He's going to get all the way down to the 11. So that punt will wind up, I guess, how's that work out, Dan? That's a net of -1 on that punt.
Yeah.
So my goodness, here I am asking about why are you not going after the punt? And Coach Kogut says, well, because we got a pretty good return man.
Yeah, and he did a nice job getting up in that seam. He was headed to the sideline. was able to use some of the Red Tornadoes' momentum against him, stick his foot in the ground and get up in that seam, and did a really nice job on the return. And the Red Tornadoes defense in a precarious position here to start this drive.
And here's your Wildcat with Hawk, Dan, and he'll take that student body left. Now we got another flag that'll stop this one before it gets started. And as you mentioned before, so that's going to be another motion penalty against the Panthers. You talked about this before, when you kind of have some of those different personnel packages in there, sometimes things get a little hairy.
Yeah, and as you see, Jim, I think we got, Howell's coming back into the game here after that one. Good idea, good thought from Coach Kogut, but let's go back to what was working earlier.
Right.
Let's get the regular offense out on the field and try and get this one in the end zone.
Well, when you have 1st and 10 from the 12, you think, I'll do 3 yards in a cloud of dust 4 times, right?
For sure.
So good on them for trying whatever might work, but Howell's going to keep this one. He rolls to the left. He's looking in the direction of Gizevich, but he's got Yoakum wide open in the end zone. So the Panthers will strike first. 2:43 left in the second quarter, and they're going to take a 6-0 lead thanks to a 17-yard touchdown pass from Howell to number 82, Devin Yoakum.
Yeah, and Jim, I talked about it at the outset, or at the beginning of the game here, I'm sorry, that the defensive backfield is going to be challenged, but they are definitely facing a different challenge this week.
Sure.
Last week, there were maybe 2-3 guys in a pass pattern for the Vikings. This week, you got five receivers out there that can all catch the ball.
Yep. 74 on to attempt the extra point for the Panthers. It's up and good. I believe that's Dorschler, so give him credit. Again, 7-0 Panthers. And while the first quarter was characterized by the punts, the second quarter thus far, it's kind of been all Panthers.
Yeah, it definitely has been, Jim. I mean, if we wanted to talk about maybe time of possession, that's something that the Panthers have owned in the second quarter, Jim. That long drive, 3rd down conversions, 4th down conversions, and then they get stopped.
Yeah.
And then, a quick 3 and out, highlighted by 2 big penalties for the Red Tornadoes, and then the Panthers putting in the end zone. It's been time of possession. And you're right, that it could be that fatigue setting in, Jim, from that short week the Red Tornadoes had.
So, you just wonder. You think you give Coach Dara and the coaching staff as much credit as you can. Coach had talked about it this week, team being as prepared as possible. He gives them a lot of leeway in terms of how they're preparing, and he talks about personal responsibility a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think they felt good, with where they were given the short week, but certainly maybe not where they expected to be with 2.5 left in the first half. But Farinata will take that kick from the 11. He's going to try to get upfield. He does a nice job. He'll get ridden down hard at the 36. But again, not bad spot for the Red Tornadoes to get started here and try to get back on track offensively.
Yeah, it's definitely a good spot for the Red Tornadoes to be in to start this drive. Actually, if we want to be, we're definitely starting the drive in better position than the previous
Sure.
one.
Right.
Was played
It's
by
all
penalties.
relative.
So we're hoping to 2.5 minutes is a lot of time for this Red Tornadoes offense to find a rhythm and get something going.
Especially when you consider at the high school level, right? We're stopping the clock on 1st downs.
Yep.
So Owens goes in motion. Steller's going to throw it. He stops and he throws it to Belichick, and he's got Belichick wide open. He's crossed the 50. Belichick's going to be ridden out of bounds by Hawk, but not before he gets well into Panther territory. The biggest play of the night for Mount Carmel by a mile. It'll be all the way down to the 37-yard line. Pickup of, what was that, Dan? That's about 31.
Yeah, Jim, and I don't know if you remember this play, but this is a familiar play to anybody who has watched this team over the past few years. They usually like to use it for 2-point conversion, short down and distance. That backside, and it looks like we're going to have a timeout, but that backside, roll to your left, put your foot in the ground, and look back across the field with the left side tight end running that backside cornfield. All all the defense, all the offense moving that way, except for that one guy who leaks out there. And Belichick did a good job. Looked like he kind of kept his head down, tried to stay, which is tough for him at 6'3", but tried to stay out of view of those linebackers as he was coming across, and was able to be wide open. Stellar dropped a dime in there. Huge play for the Red Tornadoes, and I think Coach Kogut noticed that momentum shift.
Yeah, there's a couple things there. Number one, it's a 27-yard gain. Excuse me.
Okay.
The math on the fly is a little lacking there. But number two, I agree with you entirely, Dan. That's a veteran coach. Again, new to Bloomsburg, but certainly not new to the coaching ranks. Recognizing that this game right now is on the tip of a knife.
Right. It absolutely is. We got to slow that momentum down.
Stellar's going to throw the pitch to Owens, and Owens gets up in the middle and does a nice job. Excuse me, that was Daukus. Daukus will pick up a few, but the Red Tornadoes, recognizing where they are from a momentum and a clock standpoint, trying to get back up on the ball.
Yeah, and they're definitely in a hurry. And, you know, a 6-yard pickup there, this is what the Red Tornadoes do. This is staying on schedule.
Stellar back. So Owens not in the slot that time. He's a regular tight end. And it's Daukus again, and he'll pick up a first down there. He'll be near the 20. They'll give him the 21. But, Dan, that's a bit of a wrinkle, and we'll have a break here as the Red Tornadoes down, and that appears to be Witkowski.
Yeah, and, you know, hopefully get Witkowski tended to, get him on the sideline here and back in the game as quickly as possible. But, Jim, like you said, that's definitely a wrinkle. Maybe that getting that guy on the line of scrimmage is changing things up for their defensive look, and that's an extra blocker who's a yard closer. You know what I mean? A yard closer to the ball. I'm just curious. I noticed the extra guy on the line of scrimmage. I didn't notice any extra guys in the backfield, so we'll have to keep an eye out and see how they're setting that up.
Yep. So this time it looks more traditional, right? Yep. Owens and Daukus are on the wings. Owens goes across the formation, but it's kind of an inside sally to Daukus, and Daukus is in the middle of the field now. He's breaking tackles, bouncing off guys, and Daukus is going to take that in from 21 yards out. So the Red Tornadoes answer in the only way they know how, on the ground, smash mouth football. It's 7-6 at the moment.
And Jim, I love that Daukus recognizing the Red Tornado faithful up there on the flood wall up there, and up there in the parking lot. As he came through the end zone there, he gave a little point out there to that parking lot where we had a lot of Red Tornado faithful set up there. So I like that, giving them the old salute. And you talked about Verano being on the sideline this week. We're going to have a new holder in.
That's true. It'll be Owens. We had Verano and Stellar. That hookup was really good last year. Certainly we're back at it here. Owens. Daukus does the snapping on these, so it's a good snap and a good hold. Stellar's kick is no good. It's going to be wide right. So after being perfect last week, Stellar will push that one a bit here. But the Red Tornadoes are on the board, so 1:21 left in the first half. They may still be trailing, but at this point it's 7-6 Panthers.
Yeah, and Jim, again, you know, that there was that little momentum shift, and it was pretty much all Daukus on that drive. That was a great job by Coach Dara kind of recognizing that.
Yeah, that's kind of fun to see, right? When you can pick that up, that, oh, look, there's a little wrinkle here.
Yeah.
And Daukus just started to, he was starting to feed. I mean, he's one of those guys, right? He's a senior, he's the captain. He's an undoubted leader of this team, and he's been a part of these games, right? He's been to 3 district championship games. They've been through these games on the road, whether you have fans, you don't, right? Hostile environments, whatever. He's the guy that Coach Dara called on to kind of bring the team back in the fold.
Yeah, and I think he's the perfect guy for the job. You know, I think we talked about it in the beginning of the season. He's not as much of the vocal leader, but he leads by example out there, just like Witkowski does. He'll get in your face and let you know that this is how we're doing it, and that's the kind of mentality you need in a dogfight like this.
Great kick by Stellar. Will be taken by Gazevich back at that's Fogelsanger again. He took it back at about the 6-yard line. He'll get out across the 25 to the 27. So with 1:15 left and a 1-point lead and a single timeout remaining, we'll see how the Panthers want to attack
Going out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
the tail end of this first half.
Yeah, Jim, we'll see. Yeah, we'll definitely see. And unfortunately, this is a definite wrinkle for the Red Tornadoes, as you see. You know, with Koski, we saw him go down a little bit there on the last drive, but Daukus as well on the Red Tornado sideline.
So Timko and David in there at the moment. Steller's the single backer. Howell's going to throw that inside screen to Gazevich, and Steller might not make the tackle, but he certainly upends Gazevich enough to stop that one before it breaks too big, as he had some space in the middle of the field, and it's second and 4.
Yeah, and here's the up-tempo for the Panthers.
The Red Tornadoes trying to get their personnel in and out. There'll be 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Howell takes the snap. He's going to go straight back. He rolls to his right. He's got all kinds of time. He throws it in the direction of Rasmussen, and he'll just throw it out of bounds there. It'll sail harmlessly. Garen Koski on the coverage.
Yeah, again, now another wrinkle here, Jim. You see for the first time, I think, tonight, Feliciano in there, maybe getting a little extra size, getting some fresh legs in there to that safety spot since, you know, the Panthers look like they're going to be going to the air.
Yeah, Garen Koski goes about 5'9". Feliciano at 6'2", so I think you're spot on, Dan, recognizing the game situation.
Yep.
And he's going to play that safety, that cover 2 over the top, it looks like. And Howell's going to make a nice read there, and the ball popped out. So we'll see. This is a very interesting situation as it stands right now.
And that may be Red Tornado ball.
The Red Tornadoes have recovered the football. I think you're going to see some contest from the Panther sideline as to whether or not it was caught. But regardless, we're not going to get a red challenge flag replay or automatic replays triggered on turnovers. So with 36 seconds left, the Red Tornadoes catch the first break tonight, and it'll be 1st and 10 from the Panther 45.
Jim, and again, was that Belichick on that left-hand side at the corner spot? I couldn't get a look. But Rasmussen, it was Rasmussen, correct? He caught that ball.
Yes.
And he had the ball in his hands, and Belichick got a hand in there to knock it up in the air.
Now the Red Tornadoes said, "Oh, do you like shotgun? We can go back to our shotgun double wing."
We can do that too, right?
And again, we talk about it. Maybe it's a little bit new for Steller as a starter, but he certainly got a fair share at that quarterback position. And you see the Red Tornadoes have a little bit of a challenge here getting their offense lined up, and Coach Dara is not happy about that as he had to burn one of his 2 remaining timeouts.
No, Jim, I honestly was a little curious to see what was going to happen there. You saw Coach Dara obviously was a little flustered on the sideline and had to use a timeout. I thought this was going to be one of those plays where, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing from the longest yard. And then they snap the ball and Steller throws it to a wide open Owens down the sideline or something. But
well, if you ever want to know the purpose of a timeout, pay attention to how long Coach Dara is in the huddle. He ran out there. He made his point known, and he got right out and said, "All right, let's get back to work, boys."
And now we're a totally different set out
I
here.
formation for the Red Tornadoes. Steller's going to go straight back. He's looking in Belichick's direction. He's just going to throw it out there and give him a chance, and it'll be intercepted by the Panthers. And now we've got a return on. There's a wall of defenders over there, but a great trip up made. We try to see. That's 53. So that is Dalton Moser is going to trip up. Was that Fogelsanger? I couldn't get a jersey. It was on the far side the whole time.
I didn't get a look at it, Jim, but it was a nice play. Just like catching a punt back there. If it was Fogelsanger, it would make sense. As being the punt returner, Steller threw that one up there, hoping for Belichick to run underneath it, but Fogelsanger just got there ahead of him.
And so now 25 seconds left. Here we are again, 1st and 10 on their own 42 for the Panthers. But they're going to do what they did last time. They'll spread it out, and sure enough, they'll go in a pistol formation and not spread it out.
Right.
So Howell will take this snap, and he will go straight back. He's going to throw it in the direction of number 5, but it's intercepted by Owens. So now he's on a return. He's going to try and come across the field.
Face mask.
He's going to go down at the 45-yard line. So Howell was looking for a lock. But Owens was manned up one-on-one coverage, and the ball was just a little bit short. Owens came back, fought for it, ripped it away from the defender, got down the sideline into the middle of the field, and now there is an additional flag on the play, it appears.
Yeah, we'll see what that one ends up being here. Unless this is just a conversation of spot, I'm not sure. Because I don't see there being any sort of call being made.
No, so I didn't see a flag on the field either, but I saw an official. By my accounts, he seemed to have motioned that there was some sort of a face mask.
That's right.
And given that we saw one,
Yeah.
I thought that's what that was.
I did as well, Jim, unless they just decided to, maybe they saw another one from the Red Tornadoes, decided to offset them.
So whatever the situation may be, 1st and 10 from the 45, 11 seconds left, and it looks like Steller's going to throw it to Daukus, who takes a big shot from Hawk. That ball is a little bit behind Daukus. Give him credit for even coming up with the ball.
Yeah, that's a real nice job from Daukus hanging on to that one.
So the clock stopped for the moment. They're going to say that's incomplete. It looks like they...
No, they have the ball spotted where he caught it. Coach Darren just used his timeout here, Jim.
It looks like you're right, Dan, and I'll make a confession. I was kind of watching Daukus, who got up a little slow. I didn't necessarily see Coach Darren motion for the timeout. So we'll see. That's an interesting decision to use your timeout there, to see if he's got something in mind, a hook and ladder, pitch pass, something like that.
We talk about the leg that Steller has. We don't usually talk about his arm too often, but he's able to get it out there, and maybe he's just going to say, let's just let him throw it as far as he can and see if somebody comes down with it.
So you got two to the right. It's Belichick and Owens. So we'll see what Belichick does. Steller's going to go straight back. Now they're going to cross up, and he's just going to throw it as far as he can. Owens does a great job making the reception, but that's not going to occur before the clock hits zeros. So at the end of the first half, the Red Tornadoes trail the Panthers 7-6. So we'll be back after this halftime break with stats and more analysis. Welcome back to Panther Stadium in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, where the Bloomsburg Panthers are on top of the Red Tornadoes 7-6 at the moment. So Dan and I, we're kind of talking through the half, and one thing I thought would be helpful is if we could do a little bit of a reset. So let's think about where we are in terms of all the things going on around this game, and then Dan will give us the stats and kind of explain what's going on in the game.
Right.
So the Red Tornadoes played on Tuesday.
Correct.
Today's Saturday. Right, so that's already a short week to begin with. That's one thing. Okay. So you come to Bloomsburg. Fans are allowed, however, not Red Tornado fans, right? Visiting fans, not allowed. COVID precautions, all well and good. So you throw those things. You've got a light mist going on here, right? Not to mention the Red Tornadoes missing Nick Nestico, Garrett Verano. We've seen various players, Witkowski, Daukus, have kind of shuffled in and out throughout the first half as well. And they find themselves behind in a game that maybe they didn't expect to be behind in. Right, Dan? So kind of with all that being said about what went on, what kind of happens outside these fences, can you talk a little bit about what's going on in between the hash marks?
Yeah, Jim. Well, we'll definitely give all the credit to Jose for compiling these stats that he just sent to me. So we'll start with the stats here. For Bloomsburg to start, they have 11 rushing attempts for 7 yards. So the Red Tornadoes doing a great job stopping that Bloomsburg run game. But they're also 12 of, it looks like 20 for 96 yards in the air. So most of their success obviously has been in the air. And they have 6 first downs. And we'll go to Mount Carmel. Looks like we've got 31 attempts for 45, or I'm sorry, Jim, 11 attempts for 45 yards for the Red Tornadoes, rushing the ball, and 4 of 9 for 61. So stellar, already 4 more passing attempts in the game in the first half. So talking about that.
So yeah, I know you're going to get your keys in the game, and one thing I wanted to just bring up is we forgot to mention, the game also started like 2.5, 3 minutes earlier than maybe expected, which was kind of strange, just kind of adds to the overall ambiance here, and you didn't get through your keys
right.
As you do at the beginning of most games.
But I know that Gary is always on top of getting that graphic up there, so even though I had to kind of hammer through them, I'm sure these people, the lovely fans out there that are enjoying the game along with us, were able to get a look at them. So I'm going to say for the Red Tornadoes, a successful key is pressure the passer and force some turnovers. They have the interception, and they have definitely put a lot of pressure on Howe. And for the Panthers, make MCA one-dimensional. We talked about that. 11 carries for, what was it? I'm sorry.
11 carries for 45 yards.
Yeah, 11 carries for 45 yards. And only 6 points on the board, Jim. That is not a normal Red Tornado stat line. And again, Stellar having to throw the ball more often. A lot more often than he had to last week. So the Panthers, again, made MCA one-dimensional. Give them a check mark for that one. The Red Tornadoes forced a turnover and have gotten pressure on Howe. So they'll be looking to find that ground success here in the second half.
Again, they're going to get the ball first here to start the second half, but one thing that's kind of interesting, Dan, is again, once you get under a minute, you're trying to figure out timeouts. It's essentially your 2-minute offense, even less than that at times. It kind of, a lot of what's been working and not working goes out the window in terms of time, right? You do what works, for what fits within the constraints of your current situation.
Right.
But the drive before that, or the drive before the last couple, where the Red Tornadoes had some time and weren't as worried about the clock, they seemed like they were starting to figure out how to carve up this defense on the ground.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I think that we'll see that in this second half. You make the necessary halftime adjustments. You start to find things at the end of the half. Now we're ready to go. Let's see the offense get moving here.
Yeah, on the touchdown drive. So the Red Tornadoes have 45 yards on the ground. 21 of them came on the Daukus run. But we're back here underway in the third quarter. That kickoff's going to bounce in front of Farinato. We'll pick it up around the 12. And he's got some white jerseys in front of him, some green field. So now he's down the sideline, and Farinato's in a foot race. One guy can catch him. It's Rasmussen, and he does. He'll drop him all the way down at the Bloomsburg 14-yard line. So a huge return there by Farinato to get this offense rolling.
Wow, Jim. We talked about how the Red Tornadoes needed to really come out of here strong with this starting with the ball in the second half and down a point already to the Panthers. And what do? Farinato comes out, finds a hole that you could have driven a truck through, to get into that game, to get into the red zone.
So they'll say he was out at the 15, but right behind Stellar is Witkowski. Daukus back in there as well, but the Red Tornado first play from scrimmage is going to go for a loss of about 4 as big number 52 that was. Cole Stobo for the Panthers blew that one up from the beginning.
Yeah, and Jim, it looked like, we talked about last week, that play, there's a lot of pulling. There's a lot of guys leaving their spots. He just came through that emptied out hole from the pulling left backside and was able to get in the backfield real quick.
So now it's Owens in motion to the left. They'll hand it to him, and he'll fight hard up the middle. He'll get back near the original line of scrimmage. He'll actually still be a yard shy. So while this started with the highest of hopes, it's now 3rd and 11 for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, Jim, and again, this has been tough just because of the fact that the Red Tornadoes, a lot of that misdirection that they run in the backfield is slow developing plays.
Sure.
So that Panther defensive line, who does a great job out there, has just been blowing it up in the backfield because of how long the play takes to develop.
So here we go, 3rd and 11. Big play on both sides here. Red Tornadoes certainly seem to be in 4th down territory. Stellar's going to throw, but he's under pressure immediately. That's number 80, Caleb Martz, the senior, who comes up with a huge sack and drives the Red Tornadoes back further outside the 20 to the 23-yard line. So from 1st and 10 from the 15 becomes 4th and 18 from the 23.
Yeah, Jim, that is even a bigger play because of the fact that, I don't know if you noticed, Daukus coming out of the backfield, running down the right sideline with no one near him. All Stellar needed was enough time to find him, and that would have been a touchdown.
So now you see what the Red Tornadoes will do here. Again, 4th and 18, not too many plays in the playbook. Stellar's going to roll out to his left and throw. Now he's going to come back to the right. He's looking for Blitchick. He makes one guy miss, and he's going to run through another arm tackle. So now Stellar's going to fight as hard as he can. He's going to come up short of the line to gain. It was the 5. They're going to get him right at about the 7.
Just short, Jim. That's an effort play there by Stellar. Great job getting anything out of that. But if we want to look on the bright side for the Red Tornadoes, now that's a longer field for Hal and these Panthers to work with.
Well, and you give a lot of credit to the Panthers there. Again, you come out, you give up the huge return. Rasmussen does everything right to make that play, right? He saves the touchdown there. He takes the angle. We saw him come all the way across the field.
Yep.
And then the defense holds strong. And again, it looks like it's actually going to be the 8-yard line. So they'll stop him 3 yards short of the line to gain and able to turn away that very, very serious threat from the Red Tornadoes. But it'll be a quick pitch to Pator off the right side. Now he's in the open field, and now it's a foot race the other way. Nobody's going to catch him as long as there's no flags on the field. Pator is going to flip this immediately, go 92 yards. With 9.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, the Panthers have rocked the Red Tornadoes and have now jumped out in front 13-6.
Yeah, Jim, you talked about it after that huge start to the second half for the Red Tornadoes with Farinato on a great return. It's been all Panthers since then. The huge stop defensively, and then that huge one play. You thought the Red Tornadoes did a good job pinning them deep. Well, it took one play for Pator to go 92 yards, you said, Jim?
92, yes, sir.
And on a heck of a run, a nice cut by him. Great job. So now this point becomes huge. And I don't think they're going to kick.
It does not look that way. Hawk is out there, Dan, and you've called it out a couple times. He's going to be in the Wildcat. He's got 2 players to his left.
Jim, look out for some misdirection. Maybe somebody coming back across the other way.
3 to his left, excuse me. He takes a snap, and he's going to run. He's going to try to get the corner. The Red Tornadoes are ready for it. A huge effort there by Davitt to slow him down. It'll be finished off. I see Elliott, it looks like Witkowski. So the Red Tornadoes do a great job of turning him away. That 2-point conversion, and I understand Coach Kogan's thought, that makes it 9 in a 2-score ball game. But with the Red Tornado doing their part, it'll stay at a 7-point deficit, 13-6.
Yeah, Jim, I understand Coach Kogan's thinking, but if you remember back to the last time they were able to get that play off on that 4th down play, it was 4th and inches, and he got maybe a yard. You got 3 yards to get in there. I don't really agree with that call. I think you make it 8 and make the Red Tornadoes get their 2-point conversion when they're able to answer. But like you said, Coach, the reasoning is understandable, but the Red Tornadoes, again, rising to the occasion defensively as they've had to do tonight.
So we'll see how the Red Tornadoes respond. Again, it's that score, that Patora run. It's funny how one play can change everything, right? You just talked about it at the half. The Panthers had 7 carries for 11 yards.
Yeah.
Now they have 8 for 103.
Wow. Yeah.
Which sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely sounds better.
And we'll see if they avoid Farinado. They won't. It'll be kicked right to Farinado again. He's going to catch that one on the run, and he's in an alley again. So he makes one guy miss, 2 guys miss, and he'll finally get upended by who else but Rasmussen.
Yeah.
But again, another big return from Verano. Will get out near midfield. It'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at their own 47.
Yeah, Farinado did a good job again. Now I think he's kind of letting these guys know, like, don't waste this time. You know, I put us in great field position. I'm going to give us another good field position here. So go out and get it. Go out, have some heart, get some first downs, and move that ball downfield.
It'll be a 46 where the Red Tornadoes will start here again. They trail 13-6 on the road at Bloomsburg. 9:22 left in the third quarter. Steller's going to hand it off to Daukus, and Daukus is going to fight as hard as he can, but he'll ultimately end up losing about 2 on that. We'll see if they give him forward progress. It'll be a loss of a yard. But again, Dan, that's kind of a slow developing play.
Jim, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to be an inside handoff or an outside handoff. It looks like there's definitely some confusion when the handoff occurs. It's either the steps or the offensive line could be getting disrupted a little bit.
And you see the Red Tornadoes spreading out a little bit. Timko and Belichick, instead of those tights, have gone wider. Daukus, Owens, and Reed will stay in their slots. Owens comes in motion. They're going to pitch it to him, and he's going to try to get to that sideline, but the ball is on the turf. The ball is out. A huge play by Hawk to knock that ball loose, and the Panthers are in business again as they fall on it, and it's 1st and 10 Bloomsburg from the Red Tornado 37-yard line.
Yeah, and Jim, we talked about it. Unfortunately, we got a Red Tornado down, and it does look like it's Owens. But we talked about that change in the momentum here, and that is just takes the air right out of the Mount Carmel sideline.
And here we are. Again, if you're on the Red Tornado sideline here, if you're one of the faithful, you're maybe not enjoying the first 2.5 quarters as much as you would have liked, but you are able to watch it, right? That's great news, whether you're watching it live now or if you're on Wednesday nights. Again, either way, certainly a big shout out to the whole WKMC TV team and their ability to do that. And if you are watching, don't forget any donation you can make to ensure you get to watch this great football all season is appreciated. And again, especially tonight, we want to give a shout out and thank Archie's Shoe Store for their patronage and their sponsorship of this ball game. Archie's Shoe Store, 828 Chestnut Street in Coltmont. You can go there and get shoes for the entire family.
Yeah, Jim, as we see Tom Swaldy and our athletic director and team doctor out there getting Owens off of the field here as he's walking off under his own power, which is always a good sign. But again, we talk that turnover there has put all the pressure on the Red Tornado defense yet again.
So Owens will come off the field. Feliciano's out there. Looks like Davitt's out there. Belichick's on the far corner where he's been. Witkowski's in coverage to some extent, it looks like. Howell's going to throw that quick rocket screen and give Gazevich a chance to make a play. But a huge tackle by Steller out there to stop it before it gets started.
It's a real nice job by Steller, just reading that kind of, with him flexed out a little bit, he's kind of already in his hook curl coverage zone. So he was able to just kind of sit there and read where the pass was going. And with Howell realizing that he doesn't have a lot of time, Coach Koga has done a nice job of scheming a lot of quick passes where he gets the ball out very quickly, but the Red Tornado defense is adjusting.
2 to the left, 1 to the right for Howell. He's got a single running back in the backfield with him. And he's going to go play action, and now he moves to the right. He'll flip it out, and it'll fall incomplete. He flipped that out to get a jersey when the young man gets up. That's Yoakum, 82. He had the big touchdown reception earlier tonight, I should say, but that'll fall harmlessly to the turf, 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and that's a good job by Howell getting out of the pressure there, kind of stepping up in the pocket, getting himself a little bit of extra time. But like you said, I think Yoakum definitely heard the footsteps there. Davitt was bearing down on him hard there, and it really wouldn't have turned into too much of a gain either way.
Same look from the Panthers. Howell brings Hawk in motion, and he looks to, excuse me, that's not Gazevich that time. Looks like that's number 7 out there, Fogelsang. He's had a few plays tonight, but he won't pick up the first down there. Give him about 3. It's going to make it 4th and 7 with 7.5 left in the third quarter.
Yeah, and good news here on the Red Tornadoes side of the ball. Number 11, who was in there, Spears, who was in there for T.O., coming out to catch a breath. We got Tyler Owens, who was the man down earlier, back in there on defense.
So again, big play here for both squads. Again, Panthers want to try to stretch this lead. The Red Tornadoes desperately need to stop. 4th and 7, here we go. Howell's going to throw. He's looking at that comeback route again, and a great play over there made by Belichick. So he wasn't the only one in coverage. Davitt and Farinato are over there as well, but Belichick's the one that makes the play on the ball, and it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes.
And Jim, it's funny. We talked about the duo that this defensive backfield had to deal with not last week, just a few days ago against Williams Valley. They had, by the end of the game, they had that receiver for Williams Valley triple covered.
Yeah.
And it looked like they had 3 guys at least keeping an eye on Hawk on that play there.
So the Red Tornadoes go heavy to the right. It's Timko, it's Belichick, it's Owens, and Steller's going to roll out, and he's got Owens open in the middle of the field, and he just underthrew him just a bit. That's a tough play. That's a tough ball for Steller to throw on the run and try to deliver that.
Yeah, it is. And again, we talk about the moisture issues. It looked like it came out a little funny there. As you see, Steller's looks like he's wiping his hands on his towel there. It's a tough play, like you said. Owens is open for a second, but again, that's usually all it is. You get that 1 second that you can get the ball there, and just it was a little too late with it.
But I did like the heavy set. Again, it was Timko and Belichick were kind of a double tight. Owens was closer to the line as well on that side, and they all rolled in that direction. But this time it's that rock and roll handoff you talked about, Dan, and that's the one's just not there. Daukus is going to get dropped in the backfield yet again, and he's a tough runner. It's hard when you're getting hit before you can kind of get your legs under you.
Yeah, and Jim, I'm thinking about it. That is I believe that's the play that Daukus scored his touchdown on, but it was after a few successful pitches. Now we're trying to go with this without kind of getting them moving one way or the other or ready for anything. Those pitches, obviously they're going wide, widening things out. It opens that inside up. So I think Coach Darrah's got to go back to the bread and butter here, the pitches and the quick handoffs to Witkowski, and soften up that middle a little bit.
Well, it's 3rd and 10 here. The Red Tornadoes need to make something happen. Daukus comes in motion. Steller's going to throw on a roll. He's going to throw for Belichick, and it's intercepted by Gazevich. And Gazevich is just going to fall to the turf.
That looks like a cramp situation there, Jim.
Yeah, he's unhappy with the situation there. He'll get himself off the field, which is good. Glad to see everybody's okay.
Right.
But regardless, a great play. 1st and 10, Panthers, yet again.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about this. This has been a huge thing that the Panthers have been having success with. They've been keeping Mount Carmel one-dimensional.
Sure.
If you can't run the ball, you got to go to that passing game, and they just have great coverage in the defensive backfield.
Howell under center, an I formation. He's going to turn around. He's going to hand it to Patora. Patora's off the right side. He makes one guy miss. Witkowski's going to throw him down at the 38-yard line. But again, Patora does a nice job of making something out of what looked like nothing.
Yeah, and you're right. It definitely looked like there wasn't going to be much there. That was a lot of moves and dancing around for maybe a 2.5 to 3 yard gain. But good job by Patora. Good on him just by getting anything.
Sure. Yep, so we'll see. Now, the one thing, Dan, that's a little complicated at times is what do you do if you're the Panthers? So they'll go back to their pistol. They've had success throwing the ball. So we'll see what Howell does. And he throws it, looks for Yoakum. That's the play they threw the touchdown on. But a great play there by Davitt to bat that ball away.
Real nice play by Davitt. Was able to lay out full effort there and get some hands on that ball. But you're right, Jim. I think this is what you have to do if you're Coach Kogut. It's way too early. You know, we're not even in the fourth quarter yet. We got 5+ minutes left in the third. You can't go to clock management, you know, running the clock out. Let's just win this one 13-7. You got to continue to try and put points on the board. Or 13-6, I'm sorry.
So we'll stay in the shotgun. Believe that's Rasmussen to his left. Trips to the left side as well. It's Patora, and he'll use dropped quickly. Gain of 2. It's going to be 4th and 6.
Yeah, nowhere to go on that one, but we'll see what Coach Kogut decides to do. No success on the last 4th down play, but this might be a situation where you can pin the Tornadoes deep with a little coffin corner kick here, but we'll see what they decide to do.
Well, one of the things that occurs when there's that big kind of cluster of individuals in the middle of the field is sometimes things are obscured, and that's certainly what happened in this case, as there is a red tornado down and now being tended to. So Dan, we'll take a minute here. Again, this is a tough play here. So it's 4th and 5. You're on the 36-yard line. You're offensively, if you're the Panthers, I don't want to say sputtered, but it's, you know, you have the 92-yard touchdown run. That's a huge one.
Right.
And outside of that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. So we talk about, you know, what do you do from the Panthers standpoint? You've tried the student body with Hawk. That doesn't really seem to work. And that's Tom Davin, who's now making his way off the field under his own power, which is always great to see. So what do you dial up on 4th and 5?
Jim, I think you got to go back to that short passing game. The double twins, Hawk in motion, get that almost like that long screen here. Bring somebody through motion, get the 2 receivers to run their guys off and try and get that 5 yards to the sideline.
So here come the Panthers now with double twins. If Hawk comes in motion, I'm going to take the headset off and head out. Hawk comes in motion, so I'll talk to you guys next week. But Hal's going to throw. He's looking for Hawk. He's got him in the open field. Now the Red Tornadoes are there. They're going to stop him before he gets too far. But he does come up with the first down and more all the way down to the 22. So, Dan, I don't see this often, but you're kind of spot on with that one.
Yeah, and honestly, I like it. They normally like to prove me wrong out there on the field. Anytime I say anything, I feel like the exact opposite happens. But yeah, unfortunately, this time around for the Red Tornadoes, that was what was happening there, and they schemed it well, ran those guys off. Nobody's sitting in the flat there, and it took a linebacker coming all the way from the middle just to push Hawk out of bounds.
So it's double twins again. Howell brings Rasmussen in motion this time instead of Hawk, but Howell's going to keep it himself now. He does a nice job, and he's fighting through arm tackles, and now Howell's going to step in all the way from the 22-yard line, and just like that, it's 19-6 Panthers.
Yeah, Jim, and now this is where the Red Tornadoes got to kind of look internal here. This is that never give in, never give up mindset you need as a Red Tornado. There's tons of football left. By the way, I don't want to not give credit to Coach Kogut or Hal there for dialing up that play. After you got all that motion, Hal's always throwing the ball, We haven't seen him carry the ball once today. So now you run the same motion that you just got a big gain on, and that middle opens wide up. And they've continued to see that linebacker going out with the motion guy, so that middle opens wide. So it was a well-designed, schemed play.
And Dorschler's kick is up and good. And so now the Red Tornadoes find themselves down 2 scores on the road, trailing 20-6 with 4:33 left in the third quarter.
And Jim, you know, we talked about it. This is where Coach Dara. At this point, it's not play calling right now. At this point, we need to see those leaders step up. The seniors, the captains, Julian Steller, Damon Daukus, Reed Witkowski, all those guys out there that are being called on as leaders on that team. This is where they need to step up. Bring everybody in the huddle and say this game ain't over. There's a ton of football left to be played, and it's only 2 scores. We can score twice in 2 plays.
Yep, and what I love right now, Dan, and I got to point this out because I want to give credit where credit's due. I'm looking down at the sideline, and I see number 71, Nick Nestico, right? We talked about him earlier. He's missing today, out with an injury. He's in his T-shirt, in his jersey and sweatpants. He's down there. He's grabbing every single offensive lineman, and you can see him gesturing with his hands. He's giving tips. He's doing everything he can to help those guys stay focused and stay as prepared as possible. So that's just kind of, I think that speaks a lot to the kind of caliber kids roaming the sidelines at Mount Carmel.
Absolutely it does, Jim. And now they decide to stay away from Farinato here.
And it'll be Timko. He'll take it, and he'll be dropped at the 35-yard line. So, again, you pointed this out, Dan. This Red Tornado defense maybe isn't built for quick strike, but, again, while it feels a certain way right now, you don't need quick strike. There's 4.5 left in the third quarter. We've got 16 minutes of football left.
And, Jim, this scheme, the way that this offense is schemed is not built for quick strike. But at the same time, Daukus, Owens, Wikoski, Stellar, Belichick, Timko, they're all quick strikes in and of themselves.
Stellar's going to hand it to Daukus, and that one, Dan, as Daukus gets up across the 35, or excuse me, up across the 40 to the 42, that looked a little smoother in terms of that inside handoff.
It definitely did. That you saw that lane open up there for Daukus as well, and that's not a like I said, it's not a quickly developing play, so it's really easy to see from the beginning if that play is gonna work or not.
And Gazevich, you had the big interception last time, and it was kind of stifled. The return was stifled by a cramp, is making his way off gingerly again, so we'll certainly hope he's doing all right, and he'll be back in a minute. He's spelled for the moment by number 5, Madden Locke. We've said his name a few times tonight, so certainly a good stable of talent over there for the Panthers. 2nd and 5, Owens in motion. Stellar's going to throw. He's rolling out to his left. He's under pressure immediately. He's going to be dragged down by number 54, Riley Van Broek. But we'll see. He did get the ball out. He had both Wikoski and Owens in the vicinity, so I think that'll bail him out from an intentional grounding standpoint. Yeah,
you definitely saw the referee on that far sideline motioning that there were receivers in the area, which was good. But again, the Red Tornadoes, that they haven't really been able to get anything going in the air. I think they're going to have to eventually decide that we just got to go back to the old bread and butter and just put the work on this offensive line to get it going.
So wait, hold on. Let's back this up for a second now. So now it appears was it a fumble? So it looks like one official's calling an incomplete pass. The down marker, excuse me, the ball marker had been moved all the way back to, well, the ball is stopped at the 36-yard line again.
Correct. And
so they'll move it back to where the Daukus run stopped.
Right, as it should have been. There was definitely an incomplete pass. Receivers in the area. It's a forward pass.
All right, so now we're back to the 43 for a 3rd and 4. And again, you start to feel whether or not this is 4-down territory near the middle of the field.
Yeah, and I think it is, Jim. Honestly, the defense has done a good job so far.
And so you can kind of watch Stellar's head. They went with the hard count first. The Panthers were ready, and then that inside handoff looked disjointed again, and Daukus is going to lose a yard. So it'll be back to, that 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 really becomes a 4th and 4 now.
Yeah.
And if you were going to go for it on 4th down, you hope you get 2 maybe on 3rd down, right? And
yeah. But, I mean, I think Coach Dara is at the point where this is what we got to do. We're going for it on 4th down. Let's get a play call in here, and let's get it done.
And Dan, you've been in these kind of dogfights before. How much of that is a message to his team to say, listen, go get me 3 yards,
right.
3-4 yards.
I've got faith in you. I don't know what the play call is going to be here, Jim, but I'd like to see Wikoski behind a wedge up the middle here.
And they're going to throw it. Stellar's going to roll out. He flips it over. He tried to go for Belichick, but it's incomplete. So on 4th and 4, the Red Tornadoes opt to throw it, and it's going to fall incomplete. So the Panthers will take over 1st and 10 at the Red Tornado 43 with a 2-score lead and 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
And Jim, I'm not entirely sure the decision there. That was obviously that's a position you want to go for 4th down, but your strength, your what you do best is run the ball. I think on a 4th down, even 4th and 4, you got to have faith in your leadership in that backfield to get you 4 yards.
And the Panthers, they'll take no prisoners at this point. They're going to come 3 wide. It's in a trip set, a bunch set out there. Howell's going to do that that sprint play to that's Hurd that time, and he'll be dropped after he picks up only 2.
Yeah, so now, Jim, now we may be looking at a position where Coach Kogut 2-score lead with, time winding down here in the third quarter. Now you may see that type of let's grind this out.
Yep.
Let's go get the third down. Let's play the clock game now.
So trips right. It's going to be Locke, Hawk, and Rasmussen. The Red Tornadoes don't have it covered. Howell's going to roll to his right, and he's going to throw. That's Hawk in the middle of the field, wide open. The Red Tornadoes had a really hard time getting guys over there to cover that trip set, and it'll be another first down for the Panthers.
Yeah, Jim, that's a looked like a mental mistake there, and you get, you think you're supposed to be in one spot. You have coach telling you you're going to be in a different spot. You're going one way, and the ball snapped. They did a good job of just finding the hole there in the zone.
So we'll see here. Again, the Red Tornadoes, they need a play. So last week, earlier this week, Tuesday, a couple times where they were in this position, that defensive backfield came up with a big turnover. So we'll be curious to see if the Panthers continue to put the ball in the air. Can the Red Tornadoes find a little magic there? But this time they'll be in eye. And the ball's on the turf, so Howell has a little trouble with the transfer there from the center, but he does a nice job of covering it up quickly. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 32.
And Jim, I know it is still going to be 2nd and 10, but how it looked like he gained a few inches there, which is just showing that Panther offensive line, even though the Red Tornado defensive line is tough and big, they're getting a push initially. I mean, obviously the snap count, so it's easier to get underneath these guys and get a push, but they're getting a push to the point where that ball was laying in the open and there was no one near it except for Howell.
So Twins left, I formation for Howell. They're going to throw a quick kind of a bubble screen.
And that should be counted as a fumble and marked where it went out of bounds.
Well, and it looks like that's exactly what the official is doing, Dan, as he's standing now about the 31. So that'll cost them. It'll cost them a little bit of yardage there.
And Jim, we talk about it. The Panthers' game is throwing the ball, but the only downside to that is even on those short passes, if you're going to throw it like that, there's always the opportunity of that clock being stopped.
Sure.
And that's what they ran into right there.
3rd and 14 now on the 31. 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Panthers up 2 scores, 20-6. Howell's going to take the snap and roll to his right. He's going to look for Rasmussen. He underthrows him a little bit. It'll fall incomplete. The clock will stop again with 20 seconds remaining.
Yeah, he was under a ton of pressure from Daukus. Nobody really touched Daukus getting in there. So great job by that defensive front, putting pressure on Howell and forcing him into an incompletion. Now we'll see what Coach Kogut decides to do here. It does look like a slight personnel change, but it just looks like they're going with a bigger set.
Well, he's going to bring Yoakum, right? And Yoakum, he likes on those. Yoakum's got the touchdown. He's got a couple other receptions on that kind of
middle of the field there, tight end seam type play.
The seam, right?
Yeah.
So
we'll see him.
He's on. He's going to run the seam on the left, I guess. Hawks in the middle of the trips on the other side. Nope,
Yoakum's going to.
Yep. So Howell's moving to the right now. He's got some time. He's going to throw it. It'll fall incomplete.
And I think it still would have been short, Jim, even if it was complete.
So the Red Tornadoes will take over 1st and 10.
It is. You got the official staying on the line of scrimmage down there. So it looks like they did give him the completion.
Well, so we've got one official staying on the line. The official that's got the ball is going to put it at the 31. That was the initial line of scrimmage, so it will be incomplete. That was a little funky there.
Yeah.
But one of the things there, Dan, and credit the Red Tornadoes for getting some pressure. Rasmussen had gotten behind the defense, but Howell wasn't in a position to get enough zip on that one to find him as he was running for his life.
Yeah, he definitely did get behind the defense there and was running free to the end zone.
So the Red Tornado defense answered the call there, and Coach Kogut's got to burn a timeout as the Panthers were having a little trouble with personnel on the shift change.
Yeah, well, and we'll see what happens here now. again, I'm hoping Coach Dara goes back to that bread and butter. You've got that tough offensive line, even with minus Nestico out there. Those guys that are filling in are doing a great job filling in for them. You've got that tough offensive line. Use them to your strengths.
Sure.
Run the bread and butter plays. We saw that Sally play, that kind of reverse play, maybe 3 or 4 times last week. We've seen it already probably 10 plus times just this game, and other than Dowkins' touchdown run, it hasn't really popped.
Right. Well, with the exception of some passes that have gone awry,
Right.
and he had to improvise. That that guy taking the snaps from the center, that 24 Stellar, he's a pretty good runner himself. I'd like to see them draw up a draw here or there, something. Give him an opportunity to make something happen.
Absolutely, you got to double down on your strengths, Jim.
But it's that rock and roll handoff again, Dan. That inside Sally, and Yoakum was there for it from the beginning. Dowkins is going to lose a yard. And the Red Tornadoes have gone backwards running the ball more than I think we're accustomed to see them. But one thing that we may not have been accustomed to seeing was at the end of the third quarter here, as it draws to a close, the Bloomsburg Panthers are on top of the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes, 20-6.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim. Like you said, Panthers on top, 20-6 here. This is a situation now for the Red Tornadoes where this is that never give in, never give up attitude. Well, you got to be on the sideline. Fourth quarter. This is where we win. We win this quarter. We win this game. You go out there. You get 2 scores, and you get your both of your extra points or a 2-point conversion mixed in there somewhere. you win this game, and it seems like a tall task, but for this Red Tornado team, it's not. This is something that they should be doing. They're able to do this. They just haven't had to do it over the past few years.
Well, and I think, I think what we've seen these teams do is, again, so it's 2nd and 11, you're at the 30. You're not, aside from a broken play, you're not scoring from 70 yards out, right?
Right.
Pick up 6 yards.
Yeah.
Pick up 7, pick up 8, right? Pick up 5. Just stay moving forward in chunks. And that's Owens in motion. Now he's going to try to bounce outside, but there's so many red jerseys there that he can make 2 guy miss. He can get help from 53 Moser out there.
Yeah.
And still, it's not enough for those 2 guys to give, to kind of break Owens. He'll pick up.
Yeah, Jim, looks like now with this 3rd and long here, we're going with a spread set, a receiver-heavy set. At least it looked that way, but maybe not.
So Belichick is to the left. Timko
Spears out there.
And Spears to the right. Stellar's going to be in the shotgun with Owens next to him. Dowkins next to him. Farinato's out there too, so it's going to wind up being a 4-wide set, and Red Tornadoes need to move 5 on the play clock. Stellar sends Dowkins out in motion, and he has trouble with the snap, and he's going to go down. It looked like they were going to try to maybe screen Dowkins out to the right.
Yeah.
Stellar tried to throw it before he had received the snap, and it was all he could do to not turn it over. So it'll be 4th and long for Mount Carmel, and they'll start the 4th quarter with a punt.
Yeah, and Jim, this is a good decision, I think, by Coach Dara. You're too deep in your own territory. It's too long of a 4th down to try and go for it here. Punt, live to play another down, put the pressure back on that Red Tornado defense, who has been, aside from a few big plays, has been stout throughout this entire game.
So now the Panthers looked like they might go after this punt, but they stopped. Stellar gets a nice spiral punt. It's going to bounce around the 43 and take a really positive roll for Mount Carmel all the way down to the 32-yard line. So a good job there of kind of flipping the field as best he could. The Panthers will, again, start with still pretty good field position and a 2-score lead with 10:15 left in this one.
Yeah, now, especially now, we're through that 3rd quarter. We're into that 2nd quarter, or that 4th quarter, Jim. Now we may see the old pistol formation, run-heavy Bloomsburg offense that we were accustomed to seeing the past few years.
So Howell's going to come out under center. He'll have a staggered eye behind him. Hawk comes in motion. They'll pitch it to Patora. Hawk does a great job getting downfield and making a block, but the Red Tornadoes do a good job of getting under the blocks.
Yeah, really
and will
nice
drop
job.
Patora for a gain of maybe a yard.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. Hawk got out there leading that play, but credit to the Red Tornado linebackers. And I think it was Daukus out there tied up with his tight end, doing a good job stringing that play out and then forcing Patora to have nowhere to go. He tried to cut right back into the linebackers.
So the Panthers out of the huddle with about 20 seconds on the play clock, so they're not looking to totally drain it just yet. A little early for that. Shotgun for Howell, one to the left, one to the right, and two running backs in the backfield with him. He's under pressure. He's going to roll to his right. He wants to throw, and he'll miss Hawk there.
And that's always good news for the Red Tornadoes. Anytime they're going to throw an incompletion, stop the clock, the Red Tornadoes have to be happy at this point.
And I just want to backtrack because I think I gave Hawk credit for that block. It might have been number 80, Caleb Martz, that had come in motion on that last play. So credit where credit's due.
Yeah, Jim, I think you might be right because I actually followed your lead there and gave it to Hawk as well. But I believe it was. We did have seen him, Martz, getting out in front of a lot of the run plays, trying to throw some blocks out there.
So 3rd and 10 now. Again, the Red Tornadoes just a play away from forcing a punt and getting the ball back to the offense, which is all they can do at this point. But certainly trips to the right.
Got to look for a draw play here.
Patora to the left. So we're going to get a flag on the play. We'll wait and see. Did they get a timeout? Okay, so the Panthers had a little bit going on there. You saw Patora trying to kind of figure out which side he was supposed to be on there. But Coach Kogut will call a timeout again. Don't want to make 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15.
But Jim, this is a situation here. I was trying to get it in there while they were moving Patora around. That I don't know. You could tell by Howell's body language as he threw that incompletion to Hawk that he was upset with himself. He was frustrated. He knows that he should have either pulled that down and ran with it, something to keep the clock moving. So I cannot see Coach Kogut making this any more than a long handoff, maybe a screen pass, a bubble pass, or a motion through pass. But what they scored on the last play, they scored on that Howell draw, that quarterback draw. We could see it again here with Patora leading up the middle.
So it's trips to the left, Patora to the right. So Hawk's going to come in motion this time. It's definitely Hawk. And Dan, you're right. Howell's going to keep it himself. A good play there made by number 3, Tom Davitt, for the Red Tornadoes to stop him short. So it'll be 4th and about 5. Yeah, make it 6 from the 31 or the 36.
Yeah, that's a real nice play by Davitt there. And I can't see the Panthers doing anything other than punting at this situation. But I'm not sure what we're going to see at this point because it looked like there was a little conversation over there, and they're not.
Well, it was more than a little conversation, it seems, Dan. You're right. So Howell will be out there again. It's 4 wide. So in the shotgun, 4th and 6. Coach Kogut wants to put this one to bed early. Howell's going to take this half, and he's going to pooch punt it. So there'll be no return, and he's going to get a beautiful roll. Oh, my goodness, what a play call. That's going to be down to the 10-yard line. So a different play, something you don't typically see, but you can't argue with the result. My goodness, great call, great execution, and the Red Tornadoes are 90 yards from making this a one-score game.
Yeah, and Jim, I was just about to kind of not bash Coach Kogut, but kind of question his decision-making there, and then he made me eat my words there with a fantastic call, a great call, and wow. Yeah, definitely making it tough for the Red Tornadoes offense, as it looks like we're going to have to stay opened up here.
Yep, so it looks like Timko and Spears will be to Steller's right, Belichick and Farinato to the left. Steller's in the shotgun with Daukus to his right. Steller's going to go straight back, and he's going to throw, and it's tipped. That's Rasmussen, who, give the kid credit. He's a fighter out there, but if he was 2 inches taller, I think that's 6 points going the other way.
Yeah, and like you said, just off his fingertips, but taken out of bounds there. So the Red Tornadoes, it looks like they're going to like a sort of a short passing game for Stellar, but at this point of the game, I don't think a 5-yard hitch is going to get it done.
So it looks like Spears is going to come off the field. Farinato will come off the field. Witkowski and Owens will go back in, so you'll see them back tightened up here. Stellar under center. Witkowski directly behind him. Butch and Timko in those tight end slots. They'll send Daukus in motion. Stellar's going to try to throw it, and he's got Witkowski, but a huge play there made by 23 Hurd, who seemed to know exactly what was going to happen. Dan,
Yeah.
He followed Reed right out of the backfield, and as soon as the ball touched Witkowski's hands, he put a stick on him.
Yeah, Jim, that's such a tough play. You get everybody flowing the same way, and Reed did a good job just hanging on to that. Stellar did a good job getting it to him, but you're right, Hurd had it snuffed out from the beginning.
So it's 3rd and 6. Daukus in motion. Stellar's going to throw it again. They try to set up a screen. It's not there, so now Stellar's got to step up. He's got a little bit of space. He's going to try to run over Hurd, which, I mean, he'll fall forward, but again, he needed to get to about the 21, or the 20, call it, and Hurd was able to stop him at the 17. So the Red Tornadoes now down 2 scores, 7.5 left. They're kind of running out of good opportunities to go for it on 4th, and may need to dial something up here.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about it, earlier on in the game that, you got to be able to rely on Witkowski in the backfield there to get you 3 yards. So on a 4th and 3, 4th and 4, I think that's where you got to go.
We'll see what Coach Dara calls here. And they're going to pitch it to Daukus, and he's not going to get it. So the Panthers are going to come up with a huge stop, turn the Red Tornadoes away, and now they are only a mere 19 yards away from extending this lead even further, as it'll be 1st and 10 on the 19. We've got 6:56 left in the 4th quarter, and the Panthers are on top 20-6.
Yeah, Jim, that is an absolute dagger of a play there for the Panthers. That's one of those gut check plays, and they answered the bell on that one. They did a great job getting the stop. So now we'll see this Tornadoes defense again put to the task.
Howell in the gun, Hurd to his left. There's a tight trips bunch to the left as well. We got a flag on the play, a legal motion against the Panthers, so that'll take them back to the 24, 1st and 15.
Yeah, Jim, so we'll see that 5-yard, little bit of help for the Red Tornadoes there. So, anything at this point of the game to be positive about. We need, well, anytime the ball is moving towards the Panthers end zone is good for the Red Tornadoes at this point.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're the Red Tornadoes, right, you need a turnover and you need a big return. Those are the 2 things that have to happen here. Howell's going to hand it to Hurd up the middle. Hurd does a nice job breaking a couple tackles. Now he's opening the outside. He's got Howell out there blocking for him. Hurd's down the sideline. He'll be knocked out of bounds by the Red Tornadoes. Looks like Feliciano, but all the way down at the 2. So a great job by Hurd, weaseling out of a couple arm tackles, getting to the outside. He's got Howell, who's a pretty big boy at 6'4", as a lead blocker.
Yeah.
And it took really an A-plus effort by Feliciano just to keep him out of the end zone.
Yeah, Feliciano was able to fight off Howell and get him, knock Hurd out of bounds. But again, like you said, Hurd had no business making anything out of that play and turned it into a huge gain.
So now they'll come back. The Panthers will be it'll be I formation, twins right. Howell's going to turn around, and it's Hurd, and Hurd is in. A well-deserved touchdown for that young man, given the effort on the last play. And it is 26-6 Panthers.
Yeah, Jim, like you said, definitely well-deserved. I like seeing when teams do that.
Yeah.
He did all the work to get them down in such great field position there. Give that man his due. Give him that ball. Let him get in that end zone. So good job there. And again, just extended that lead, and that may be a dagger for the Red Tornadoes.
So on to kick. Looks like it's, well, I'm not sure who this young man is. I don't have a 58 on my roster at the moment.
That is correct. We do not.
Again, I know Dorschler So there is a illegal motion penalty against the Panthers, so this kick will get a little bit longer. Again, I know I've seen Dorschler's name a lot this week in terms of kicking. I've seen it different places. When I spoke with Coach Kogut earlier in the week, he did say there was some jersey shuffling going around. Just because the Panthers had ordered some jerseys and they're not quite in yet, so they were making do with everything they had. So that could just be part of this. And Dorschler's kick is up, and it is good. And so, again, 6:40 left in the fourth quarter here at Panthers Stadium, and the Bloomsburg Panthers are on top of the visiting Red Tornadoes, 27-6 in their home opener of this 2020 kind of COVID-19 shortened season.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about how that, I mentioned how that one might have been a dagger, and the reason I say might is because there is still over half of the fourth quarter remaining. This Red Tornado offense can strike at any time from any distance. So, got to stay positive on that Red Tornado sideline. Got to keep fighting for this one.
Yeah, and I think one of the bright spots you've had tonight has actually been the kick returns, right?
Absolutely.
Farinato's done a great job getting up in there, and it looks like 18 Jacob Zarski's in there as well, and he's certainly capable of making a big play. Coach Dara and this, their special teams unit kind of just putting a handful of different guys out there looking for a spark.
Yeah, and that's what you need at this point. The last time it seemed like they tried to keep away from Farinato, and Timko ended up fielding it. So it looks like, Jim, I don't know if you noticed as well, as they move Zarski to the back there, they have moved Spears up to that second line.
Yeah, just trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do, how this kick is going to go down. So it's going to be another short one. Farinato will try to take it on a hop, and he will. He's got some space there. He does, again, a nice job. He'll be out near midfield. So the Red Tornadoes can only ask for so much at this point, right? From your special teams. They do a great job yet again of giving them plus field position to start, or at least not negative, right? It'll be right at midfield. 6:35 left, down by 3 scores. Mount Carmel, like you said, Dan, not out of it yet, but certainly need to strike quick.
Yeah, Jim, at the same time, even if they do run out of time on the clock, this is one of those situations where you need to end this game on something positive. You have to get something positive out of this drive, out of one of these drives.
So it's a straight eye behind Stellar. Belichick by himself to the left, Owens out to the right. The blitz comes immediately, and that's Martz again. So a great play there by that young man. And Dan, all I can say is we've kind of seen this before. That's when a defense smells blood in the water. They know you're going to throw it, so here we come.
Absolutely, Jim. That middle of the field, those inside linebackers are pinning their ears back. You can see him trying to time the snap count, and he got in there before Stellar could even do anything with the ball.
Yeah, it's great to have Witkowski and Daukus back there as protectors. I mean, I don't know if you could pick 2 better kids to have watching your back, but if you're on the ground before you can get behind them, you're not always in the best shape.
Right.
And Stellar's going to throw it in Belichick's direction, who does a nice job of positioning himself. He'll get knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, it was a real nice job there by Belichick, just getting that ball. Stellar with a nice little back shoulder throw.
Yeah, it'll be down to the 24-yard line.
He felt the coverage coming up over the top on Belichick, so he did a good job of throwing it a little bit behind him and allowing Belichick to come get it.
So 26 yards, almost all in the air there.
Yeah.
Belichick will, again, do a nice job to come back to the ball, make the reception, and he gets kind of sneaks out of bounds. 5:46 left. Daukus in motion. Stellar's going to roll that way. Now he's going to step up in the pocket and come back across the field, but there's nowhere for him to go. The Panthers do what they've done all night and converge very quickly and very efficiently. Stellar will pick up about half a yard.
Yeah, and again, Jim, I don't know if you noticed Daukus walking from the Bloomsburg sideline with no one near him. Again, he came out of the backfield there on a little wheel route, and unfortunately Stellar just didn't have enough time to get him the ball.
Back to that I formation now, so Belichick's on her to one-on-one coverage out here. They like the matchup there from a size perspective. Stellar under pressure immediately. He's going the wrong way, and he's going to be dragged down in the backfield all the way back to the 39. So that's going to be a loss of 15. A huge sack there by Chulak.
Yeah, and Jim Steller just with no chance to do anything there. That's a leader on the team, a junior captain, quarterback, just trying to make something out of nothing there. He had that play was blown up from the beginning, and he did not have an opportunity to do anything, and just trying to make something happen. And unfortunately, it turns into a big loss.
Yeah, so on the third and 25 now, Owens and Witkowski out, Spears and Farinado in, a 4-wide set. Steller in the gun, Daukus to his left. Daukus is going to go out on a swing pass. Steller is going to try to get upfield. The ball is on the ground. He's able to grab it himself, but again, just almost instant pressure. As we've seen all night, he'll go, another sack here down to the 43-yard line, which is going to make for 4th and 29.
And Jim, that's the unfortunate part there for the Red Tornadoes. We talked about the depth that they have, but they're missing some of that depth right now.
Sure.
And that talent. So, yeah, Daukus, they're bringing more than 5 guys, so your 5 down linemen aren't going to be able to cover everybody. But you're trying to get Daukus involved out of the backfield, so you don't keep him in to be a personal protector there. It's tough all around for the Red Tornadoes right now.
So the tough gets tougher here, as the Red Tornadoes look like they're going to have an illegal motion penalty to make that 4th and 29 a 4th and 34. And again, Farinado returned the kick to midfield, and as of right now, the Red Tornadoes are about +2 yards from that spot.
Yeah, again, Jim, we talked. You said it. You hit the nail right on the head. The tough gets just a little bit tougher for these Red Tornadoes. But, again, just trying to take something positive out of this.
Yep, Steller's going to go straight back. He's going to throw it, and he's going to throw it to Blichik, who's going to fight as hard as he can. He's in good, Hurts there in good coverage. The ball falls incomplete. Had Blichik come down with it, he would have been back to the original line of scrimmage and still about 10 yards short. So the Panthers will now take over. Again, 1st and 10 on their own 48-yard line, up 27-6 over the Red Tornadoes with 3 minutes and 11 seconds left here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about it. Definitely been a difficult game for this Red Tornado team all around. But, as much as you want to talk about the short turnaround and everything, you got to give credit to the Bloomsburg Panthers, Coach Mike Kogut, that taking advantage of that somewhat. You know what I mean? Just making the most of their opportunities. Howell
under center, they'll pitch it. That's going to be number 21, Nazir Kelly. So he'll pick up the length of the football, maybe. The Red Tornadoes were ready for him there. But you're right, Dan. I think one thing that I'm always curious about, so it's been a weird year, obviously, for, not just in high school sports, but in general. And the Red Tornadoes came out last week, and, they didn't have any scrimmages prior to, right? So you wonder, there wasn't any tape on them, right?
No,
on this particular version of the Red Tornadoes, with Steller under center, with Witkowski and Daukus and Owens, there was no tape. Nobody really knew what to expect.
Right.
And so you wonder if now it becomes that year-long kind of chess match where, okay, now there's tape. Bloomsburg's kind of shown what you can do when you have a good feel for how the Red Tornadoes are going to act, and Howell's going to keep that one himself, lose a few yards there. And now it's just up to the Red Tornadoes to kind of, react to the reaction, so to speak.
Yeah, and we got a late flag here.
So we'll see what happens. That was, again, late flag.
And a timeout, too, I think.
So we'll see. We got a flag. It's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct against the Red Tornadoes. So that referee, I think he's walking the wrong way.
But that's
I think somebody should let him. There he goes. Hey.
All right.
It's been one of those days for all of us, buddy.
I thought we were going to get one there. Then nobody would have noticed. All the Mount Carmel fans here, would have been able to stop him.
Yeah.
Everybody up on that hill, way up there, watching the game.
Yep, give them credit. Shout out to the hill. Right, you're still here. So, as is often the case, right, you're not going to keep Red Tornado fans away.
Absolutely
no matter
not.
how hard you might try. We'll be back. So next week, right, we're talking about next week, we'll be back at the Silver Bowl with Hughesville. As Patora takes the pitch, and he's going to try to get outside, and he'll cut back up inside and do the right thing, not worry too hard about getting out of bounds. Try to keep that clock moving as we're under 2 minutes. But yeah, Dan, we'll be back at the Silver Bowl next week, and be curious. As far as I know, at least, anybody coming from Hughesville will be welcomed with open arms.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely have some of the Hughesville faithful out there as long as they decide to make that trek, to the Silver Bowl, that hour-plus drive there. It is a long drive for the Hughesville Spartans, but like you said, we'll be welcoming them with open arms into the Silver Bowl.
Stellar's going to come off the field here. Lukoski and Dalkins are going to do what they can to console him. Obviously upset. A lot of the Red Tornadoes, certainly, and Howell's just going to take it up the middle to pick up that first down. It was a fourth and about a foot there. That kid, again, he's one of those guys. He's 6'4", he falls forward and he gains 3 yards.
Correct.
So the Red Tornadoes do what they can to, kind of stay composed, but at this point we're all just running out the clock.
Yeah, and that's exactly what these Panthers are doing. And, although, we talked about how Coach Kogut is kind of new to this Bloomsburg team, a lot of these guys are returners from last year.
Sure.
So these Panthers, have felt the heat from taking some tough losses to the Red Tornadoes the past few years. So there's definitely a lot of excitement on that Panther sideline that they're going to be able to walk away with this one.
Yep, so quick handoff there to number 28. That is Jesse James. So nice little pickup there. We got 30 seconds left in this one. But Dan, you're right. So you talk about the games between the Red Tornadoes and the Panthers. Is the Panthers aren't going to have to snap the ball. This is a big win for that program. So we talked about them playing for the 4th time in the last 3 years. The Red Tornadoes put up 50+ in both of the matchups, and then the third matchup prior to tonight, the Panthers actually forfeited. It was the first round of playoffs last year, and due to injuries and some other things that they opted to not kind of suit up and come play.
Right.
So as the clock strikes 0, and officially the Panthers can call themselves victors, they'll be 2-1. They've got Warrior Run here next week, so they probably feel pretty good about their chances against Warrior Run as well, and have an opportunity to get to 3-1. And again, we see a show of sportsmanship that only 2020 could love.
Right.
And you wave across the field at one another. But again, certainly not the outcome many expected. And I know they're not the end-all be-all, but the news item, for instance, the Fearless Forecasters, I don't believe a single one of them took the Panthers tonight.
Yeah, Jim, just looking at the offensive success that the Red Tornadoes had last week. 3 days ago, 4 days ago. And then you look at the difficulty that the Panthers defense had against the Southern Columbia run game last week. You definitely would, if you want to play an analytics game and a numbers game, on paper, this was a great matchup for the Red Tornadoes.
Sure.
and not a great matchup for the Panthers. But credit where credit is due. The Panthers made the necessary adjustments they had to do and stopped almost completely this Red Tornado run game.
Well, they wanted to be known, this Panther team, you see it in everything they do. They want to be known as a tough football team, and that's certainly what they showed tonight. I'm curious now, we know their rushing numbers will be a little bit skewed by the Patora 92-yard rush here.
Right.
But regardless, they certainly seem to have more. They just had more juice in the second half, Dan.
Yeah, and we talked about it, Jim. That it could be a very, it could be due to the fact that the Red Tornadoes did only play 4 days ago, and the Panthers played 8 days ago.
Right.
I believe they played Southern Columbia on Friday. They had a long week, as opposed to the Red Tornadoes, extremely short week.
Right.
I haven't seen a high school football team ever have to run a gauntlet like this or do that turnaround like they've done this week.
Well, and that's the tough part, right? When you start to look forward and look at what's coming, again, so they get a Friday game next week. Next Friday, you have Hughesville.
Right.
And then we kind of roll from there. kind of roll from it just continues. So what do we got from a stats standpoint? I saw Jose.
All right, for Mount Carmel, we've got 29 carries for 33 yards, unfortunately. 7 of 17 passing for 96 yards, 7 total first downs. So the second half, obviously not nearly as close as the first half.
Right.
For Bloomsburg, 27 carries, 148 yards, 15 of 30 from Howell for 129 yards and 12 first downs.
Yeah, so that's the difference there. And you know, we're here at Bloomsburg, and it's been a great night overall. Certainly wanted things to turn out differently for the Red Tornadoes, but I think we're going to wrap it up here, Dan. So, again, the Bloomsburg Panthers 27-6 victors over the Red Tornadoes. I'm Jimmy Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalez, this has been a WKMC TV broadcast, and we will see you next week.